Great Scott, and welcome to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Rico.
Whoa, this is heavy.
What's going on, man?
It's been
What?
it's been raining over here. Steph and I had a whole house to ourselves for about 10 days. My mother and her boyfriend were on vacation or something, and then they came back just in time for us to do a recording.
Awesome.
So it was nice to have a house to ourselves. We cooked a lot. I cooked some pasta.
Yeah, you did. That shit looked good as hell.
It was fucking good, man. If I ever come to Jersey or if you ever come here, I'm gonna have to cook for you.
Fuck yeah. Also with us tonight, back for his second appearance, is Mike. Hey, man. He came back. I don't know why. Glutton for punishment, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's our groupie.
He's our groupie. I thought that was Arlen.
I doubt that.
Oh, used to be.
But hey, we got to give a shout out to Mike for those who don't know, we have a new logo setting up, and we put out the test logo
that's just the artwork. We haven't even seen the logo yet.
Okay, so the artwork that we have now posted on Twitter and Twitter.
And Facebook.
Mike
you put it on
Mike
Facebook,
did an amazing fucking job on it. So we got to give a real round of applause for Mike here.
Absolutely.
Yay.
You put that on Facebook, I thought, didn't you?
I put that on my Facebook. I haven't put it on the podcast.
Well, no, we don't want to do that yet. But anyway,
I also sent it to about 10, 15 people on my text messages.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Facebook, the same reaction. They're just kind of like, cool.
Can you hear me clearly? Because I feel like we're talking over each other more than usual.
Not when I'm talking. Then I can see you're talking, but then it sort of bleeds in.
Okay, just checking. Speaking of Facebook, real quick before we get into tonight's topics, I love the conversation between you, me, and Maddie Granger the other day. It cracked me the fuck up about the Ray shit.
Oh, but yeah. For those who don't know what we're talking about, there was an article about how there's a rumor that Ray is a clone of Luke, and the Knights of Ren are also clones.
Okay.
And I had sort of called and predicted that way back when Force Awakens was released. I said I think Rey is either a reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker or she is a clone of Anakin Skywalker. So it's not exactly a theory though, because they're saying it's a clone of Luke, but it's still the same type of thing. So I posted a thing saying I fucking called it, and then CJ wanted to start a fight. I say, actually, no, Maddie Granger called it. I said, no, Maddie Granger did not. He said that the Knights of Ren are going to come back, which, okay. But he also was like, Padme equals fucking, you know what? We're getting all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I'm fucking right, and fuck you guys.
No. But anyway. So, I just thought that was fun, though. It's fun to interact with Maddie Granger again, which, by the way, he should be coming up on an episode soon along with the Women of the Body Count podcast, so that's going to be a lot of fun for the round table. I'm excited to get that one going.
Oh, I got something that I could throw your way that you guys will find funny.
Sure.
A friend of mine on Facebook posted because he has a cabin somewhere, I think north, and it was like snowing up there, and he posted a photo of a giant snowball that he had built. And I responded with a GIF comment of Willem from Clerks saying, "That's beautiful, man."
That's funny. That's good.
But he didn't get it because everyone else was making snowman jokes and a couple of people were making more than one reference of that looks like a giant rock of cocaine. That reminds me of the 80s. That reminds me of the bar that I used to frequent. And then I said, you all are fucking stupid. This is like, if you know the character's name of the GIF that I'm posting, it's even funnier because his name is fucking Snowball.
Right. That's pretty fucking funny, dude. Good job.
Yeah.
So, in that same vein, real quick, a lot of positive feedback from Mike's previous episode, the number 37 in a row. So that's getting a lot of, or not 37. Mike's was 34. 37 in a row is coming. That's the Clerk's commentary, but I got my episodes confused. But either way, a lot of positive feedback, Mike, so thank you for coming on board and coming back again.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
We're good to have you. Glad to have you. And we're doing, I think you asked to be on this one, didn't you? This particular topic? Didn't this another one you asked to be a part of?
Yeah, I asked you. Well, I forget. I texted you, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you guys should do a Back to the Future podcast. And you said it's already on the list.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do it with you guys if you want.
Yeah, that's basically how it came down. So, and that is what we're talking about tonight. And that's why I started the show the way I did and almost made Rico choke on this coffee, which was kind of the goal. So, every once in a while, I like throwing those at you. You know what I mean? Like every once in a while.
Right. You'll do the like the Halloween one. You're like, good evening. Like you were.
I tried to do like a Dracula style "Welcome to PodAskew," and it came out terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Rico, I'm on your side with the whole Halloween thing, and CJ disliking the original Halloween. I don't know what that shit's all about.
Well,
CJ, this is what I'm telling you. Ever since we've talked about Halloween, everyone's going to bring up the fact that you're a dumbass when it comes to it.
I've been sending them like hate mail every day.
Should we? Yeah,
anonymous hate mail.
Should we tell them about the meeting we had with Jess very quickly? I won't get into all the details, but that part of it.
Yeah, sure.
So we're doing this roundtable we've talked about, and we were meeting with one of the guests that's going to be on it, one of the co-hosts of the Body Count podcast, Jessica, and did we tell her or had she heard the episode? I don't remember. I think we told her.
We told her. We were giving her episodes to listen to get a feel for it.
That's right.
We just listen to everything.
Yeah. And then you brought up
we love our own shit, so I kept saying like, oh, this one's really good, and also this one's really good. Fucking just listen to the whole fucking thing.
Which, if I'm understanding correctly, she is doing, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, she's catching up.
But you did mention my disdain for Halloween, and she all but came through the screen at me.
Yeah, she almost fucking Michael Myers your ass. She almost stabbed you through the fucking feed. It was amazing to see. It was amazing to see a woman really just kind of respect you and then have no respect for you in a matter of 2 seconds.
Well, we won't get into the why, but when I told her what I did for a living is when I lost the respect, if you recall. But we're not going to get into that. But anyway.
Yeah, Halloween didn't help.
And then Mike, Halloween didn't help, yeah.
Did you see the 2018 Halloween?
Did I?
No, fuck you, see. I'm talking to someone on my side.
Yeah, I saw it.
What'd you think?
Terrible.
Yeah, see?
Capital T.
See, I'm not that far off. The first one was terrible. Why shouldn't the new one be terrible?
Well,
because the first one's a fucking classic, and CJ, shut the fuck up. You don't have an opinion.
I should have known from the very beginning because they named it Halloween 2018 when it's supposed to be a direct sequel from the original Halloween. So so Halloween 1 is named Halloween,
right?
And then the second one is called Halloween,
right?
And that's it.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
I heard rumors it was supposed to be called Halloween Returns, which is not an amazing title, but it's still better than just Halloween.
Yeah. Obviously, Halloween's going to return.
Plus, it's. I mean, all kidding aside, it is confusing with also having the Rob Zombie version somewhere in the middle of all that, also called Halloween. So, it's whether it's good or bad.
Don't get me started on those.
Well, regardless of how good or bad those are, that's not the point. The point is that all three are sharing the same title, and that's where it gets a little,
But that was a reboot, that
right.
The Halloween 2018 is supposed to be a direct sequel from the 1979, 79,
78, something like that.
Yeah,
78. I just heard a rumor that allegedly they're going to make another one, and by that alone, that means Laurie Strode is the worst person to prep for Michael Myers for 40 years.
Yeah. It was
a
big letdown for us. Me and my wife went and saw it. I think the week it came out, and man, total bummed by the end of it. There's good sequences in the movie, like when he does the nonstop camera sequence where he goes in to the two houses or whatever. That part's great. That's the best part of the whole movie. But as far as the plot and everything, it just didn't do it for me.
my take on it was that the director and the writers were clearly fans, but they sort of missed the whole point of why it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there are some nice little homages to the original where, like, the role reversal of Laurie Strode sort of becoming Michael Myers in retrospect, where she gets knocked off the roof, and then, like, he looks back and she's gone.
Right.
Kind of like an homage to the first one. Or how she is sort of stalking her granddaughter from across the street at the school. Yeah. Those little things like that, I'm like, that is awesome how they fucking did that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, let's make a joke about fucking peanut butter on the penis and fucking.
Yeah, what was that about? Like,
yeah, I remember
banh mi sandwiches, and you're like, what the fuck, Danny McBride? Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I didn't see it, but when I remember you told me about the peanut butter and the penis thing, and I was like, what?
Yeah. It came out of nowhere, and obviously Danny McBride wrote that, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be writing the next one. He's not going to have any writer credits.
I don't know.
For the next one.
God, David Gordon Green is a talented enough filmmaker, regardless of whether he's doing stoner comedies or serious, and he did make a good horror film.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good, it just, the story wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like the whole plot twist with the doctor. When that happened, I was okay with. I call it the anti-Loomis. I was okay with the anti-Loomis until he put the mask on. Then I'm like, all right, you lost me. Like, this is sacrilegious. Yeah.
There's also a new Child's Play reboot trailer just dropped.
I heard, yeah.
Dude, I'm guessing, Mike, you're more of a horror fan than CJ. Is that right?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay, so
that's not hard to do, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah. What was your take on the Child's Play franchise? Like, love it or hate it? Did you just still like kind of love some or hate them all?
Yeah. Child's Play was probably like it's like one of those like cheesy horror movies, But I saw it when I was a kid, so to me it was like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life when I was watching it at 8 years old or whatever. But obviously as they went to like, what's that?
I was the same way. I saw Chucky fucking haunted me when I was like 6 years old because I have older brothers who fucking terrorized me with Chucky.
Yeah. But you could also almost put in the category of like Nightmare on Elm Street, where like the first one is like fucking crazy scary, but like also like kind of campy too. And then like as they kept on making more and more movies, they just got more and more campier and just like, I don't know, like
and then the recent Netflix sequels like Cult of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, got actually sort of going back to the original vein of being scary. They were better. They were pretty good for being Netflix movies, and they were held by the fucking original creators, Don Mancini and whatnot. And then so fucking Universal just have nothing to do with the original creators, who's still making other movies as well as a TV series, made their own reboot fucking movie, and it's gonna be a separate Chucky movie while we still have the original Chucky movie. It's basically Halloween. Like, you're having two separate fucking timelines. You're like, what the fuck? And the new trailer dropped, and it fucking looks like the quality looks good, but I know I'm just like being a hardcore Puritan and being like, this is not the Chucky I grew up with.
I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes out. Do we know who's voicing Chucky?
They haven't specified. Look, if I'm being honest, it's probably gonna be. It looks like the trailer implies it looks like it's a fucking robot and not a soul possessed serial killer in a doll thing.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like an AI thing going wrong, probably.
Yeah. It's like if a fucking Tamagotchi said "fuck it."
Tamagotchi.
Oh my God, Tamagotchi.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be where I think they're gonna do like the good guy little like voice like. Wanna play? I think it's going to be that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have it sounding very effeminate doll running around the knife.
Yeah, because if they make it more like computer like mechanical like that, they could probably go like the 2001 A Space Odyssey direction. Like make him like Hal, like where he's just like it's just like a calm voice, but it's like sinister at the same time. Like I can't do that, Hal, or like maybe Chucky would be like, come play with me. Kind of like Shining-esque. Kind of thing. I don't know.
Just kind of sounding really bored. Like, okay, I'm friend to the end.
I'm stabbing you in the heart right now.
I didn't read the article, but I saw a headline that said that Jennifer Tilly saw the trailer and hates it. Because wasn't she involved in the first one or something?
She was involved in The Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
She was in 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, okay. Wow. Jesus.
But I didn't read the article, and you know how clickbait is, so it probably isn't as bad as they made it sound, but still, that's what it said.
She posted a photo of her with her Tiffany doll, which is the character she plays in the movies.
Right.
And new Chucky movie. Fuck you guys, we're out.
Okay. I did just look it up.
Actually, what she probably said was, "Fuck you guys, have out," because her fucking voice is just.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a few of them. I just looked up the Child's Play. They are keeping it very close to the chest. I thought they might say, like on the IMDb, who's voicing Chucky, and it's not. So if
they could cast anybody, and the fans would still be pissed off that it's not Brad Dourif.
Okay, so I know it's not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing going back to the Matty Granger days where I was pissed off about someone else being Snake than David Hayter, if you remember.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, be curious to see.
So we're moving on from Child's Play. We're going on to Back to the Future. Two movies that are very directly related to each other.
Yeah, right? No, I do want to, just because I felt so left out in the last 15 minutes, that I do want to mention about one reboot I know they're doing that I want nothing to do with, and that's the Big Trouble in Little China reboot. I'm really, really upset about that.
They're not doing it, or
they are doing it, and that's what I'm upset about. So
is that Michael? Who's John Cena? Is that who's going to be in it?
No, The Rock.
Really?
Dwayne Johnson's going to be. Oh Jesus Christ! I just blanked on his name. Jack Burton. Yeah,
he's of course. The Rock is going to be in another movie.
Yeah, right. I don't know if it's. That's the thing. There's too much about this that I'm not aware of yet. So I don't know if it's doing a flat out recopy and that it's Jack Burton, or if they're just doing it more like Jumanji, where it's a spirit of, but not a. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know enough to know that if they're doing it that way or not. But either way, they just need to leave it the fuck alone.
Did you guys hear? Because you remind me of Jumanji, like Nick Jonas or Joe Jonas, one of the fucking Jonas brothers is in the sequel. Did you hear that whichever one was in Jumanji wants to be Batman?
Oh,
I did hear that. Yeah, and I think it's Joe. I think it is Joe Jonas. Yeah.
But they're really I when we talked about this last time, there was just a small rumor of Robert Pattinson. Now it's like everyone is talking about Robert Pattinson probably going to be Batman.
I still wanted to be, what was his name? Dylan O'Brien? The one from Maze Runner, I think?
Yeah.
I like him. I want him to do it. I like him a lot.
I'm still clinging to my theory that it's just, this is going to be a younger Bruce Wayne Batman, and then Bruce Wayne's still on retainer for the later grown-up ones. That's what I'm hoping.
The biggest question I heard, and I think it's a valid question real quick, is he still going to... Yes, he's not going to be in The Batman, meaning Affleck, but is he going to be in Suicide Squad too, to stay with the continuity there?
Dude, I'm still trying to fucking wrap my head around, this Birds of Prey and the...
that trailer was terrible.
Emancipation of Who Gives a Fuck. I mean, well, I did have a mini kind of random freak out because I randomly rewatched the movie Jack with Robin Williams and Bill fucking Cosby.
Such a good movie, except that Cosby's in it, but, you know.
Yeah. And any movie with Robin Williams now is just heartbreaking to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was rewatching it, and I'm like, I was looking at, there's two girls that bully him at one point, how old are you? One was black, the other was blonde with glasses and shit. The African American girl is one of the main stars of fucking Birds of Prey.
Oh shit!
So it was so weird for me to see her, and I'm like, God, she looks familiar. Who the fuck is this? I looked at her, I'm like, holy shit, she's got a massive career now. I don't even know who the fuck she is.
Yeah, right. So that reminds me of a movie called Back to the Future, and I think There's a whole lot of these movies we got to talk about, and I actually need to talk about the cartoon series for a minute, because I tried to go back and watch that for this, and I got 5 minutes into the first episode and threw the double middle fingers up and said, fuck this noise, and turned it off.
I've never even seen it.
Okay. Well, good for you, first off.
Oh, first off, do you know who voiced Doc in the animated series?
That's the first problem I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not who did it. I don't have a problem with who did it, but to your point, go ahead and say it, Mike. I didn't mean to cut your...
It's, I hope I said the last name right. Dan Castellaneta from Simpson?
It's Homer.
Yeah, Homer Simpson?
Homer Simpson.
Yeah. Now, that I don't have a problem with. I have a problem with it, but not because it's Dan. That I could care less about. He's a good voice actor, and I like him quite a bit, and I've seen him in a bunch of things, so I'm fine with that. My issue is that they intersperse live-action stuff throughout the cartoon, where Christopher Lloyd fucking shows up and does the live-action shit, but doesn't voice the goddamn cartoon! What the fuck?
That would be the equivalent of having Robin Williams, like, on screen as the genie, and then when they do the animated shit, it's Dan Castellaneta.
Right, that's exactly what it's like. So that's not my criticism is not of Dan, and my criticism is if you've got him to do the live action interspersals, why the fuck didn't he just voice the thing? Because Thomas Wilson voices Biff in the show.
I think it's a budget thing.
Probably, but you got him to do the live shit, so if he's doing that, then you just work it into the contract. I mean, it's irrelevant now because the show's over, but it ran 3 seasons, believe it or not.
This is my theory. I bet because it was probably Christopher Lloyd didn't want to do merchandise shit, so they probably had Dan Castellaneta getting the feel for the voice, so that if they had like a fucking Doc Brown animated series doll, it would be Dan Castellaneta, and the kids aren't being like, that's not fucking Christopher Lloyd. We know the difference. It probably, that's why, because same thing happens with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks plays Woody on Toy Story, but his brother, Jim Hanks, does all the voice shit for toys and video games and whatnot.
I've heard that, yeah. But that's at least, I guess it's closer. And here's the other thing, and we'll talk about this other part later, but there's a game that came out 7 years ago, I guess it is.
The Telltale
now.
Games?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still making them?
No, they haven't made them in a long time. And actually, excuse me, Telltale just went out of business like a month ago. Like, just shut the doors one day like that. No warning, no nothing, just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, we're not going to get a third chapter of the Batman because those Batman Telltale games are amazing, but that's another conversation. But they did do a Back to the Future, and they got Christopher Lloyd to come back and do Doc Brown, and they even got the original Jennifer, which we'll talk about as we get into it later. Like, it's not Elizabeth Shue, it's the original Jennifer from the first movie. Comes back and plays Jennifer in the game. So the only person they didn't get back, and I understand why, is Michael J. Fox, and it was because he was dealing with the Parkinson's, and he thought he himself. There's actually an extra that comes with the game that I watched, and they interviewed Michael J. Fox about it, and he said that he didn't do it because he was afraid it wouldn't sound authentic enough, and he didn't want to disservice the character that way. And so they got this kid to do it, who's fucking amazing.
Sounds exactly like him too.
It does. It's probably the closest you're going to get to it Back to the Future 4 because it really does pick up at the end of 3, and it plays really well. It's a really really good game.
I haven't played it, but I was figuring like maybe one of you guys played it. But it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh yeah, but
I
don't
get
know
it on PS4.
No, it's a PS3 title.
Okay.
I don't think you can get it on the 4. And with Telltale being out of business now, I don't know if you're going to be able to get it at all. So you'd have to look. But it is really good. It's episodic, but at this point, all the episodes are out, so you should be able to just get it all in one shot. But I think they're $9.99 an episode or something, so it's going to be a little pricey. But it is worth it. If you're a fan of the series like the three of us are, then you're going to enjoy it. If you're not, then maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But
if they have a PS4, I'll try it out. But
yeah,
then,
you could check it, Mike. I just don't know. I haven't. I played it on the 3 when it came out. Like, I bought it when it first launched. And then I paid for it up front, so I paid less, but I got everything. It was like one of those things where if you pay for it all up front, you get all the pieces.
They did the same thing with the Walking Dead Telltale games.
Yeah, I didn't play that, but I'm same concept. And if you like those, then you'll like this because it's that.
They're all right.
they're the same vein. But yeah, and they got everyone to come back for. I think Thomas Wilson did Biff in that too. Like they got everyone to come back except Michael J. Fox, and I'm okay with him not doing it for the reasons it makes sense. So, Rico, you're really
I'm letting you guys talk. How did Castellaneta sound?
I mean, it's okay. It's not bad because it is Dan Castellaneta, and he's good. He's a good voice actor. I think he's, like I've said, I think he's really good at his craft. But when you have because here's the thing, like, you'll go from a live interspersal of Christopher Lloyd on screen talking to you, and then it'll shift to the cartoon, and you'll hear Dan, like, I mean, within seconds, Rico. We're not talking like a huge gap. And so it's a little disjarring, I guess, is the word for it, because you're, especially for people like me who know what Doc is supposed to sound like. I guess if you're like a 6-year-old kid watching Saturday morning cartoons, because that's when this aired. It was a Saturday morning cartoon when they used to have that kind of thing, you know.
In the good old days.
In the good old days, yeah. When you had those, it probably didn't bother anybody. And I guarantee you I watched it. I remember watching it as a kid. And as a kid, I probably didn't pick up on it. But as
no way.
As an adult, I noticed the difference. And it's frustrating.
We weren't following voice credits at the end of shows when we were like 6.
Yeah.
Waiting for the commercials to come on, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, the toy commercials, I should say.
Being fair, Mike, I think you and I were closer to 11 when it came out, but still, yeah. Like,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Still bought toys when I'm 11.
No, fuck
still buy toys now, so.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. Didn't you tell me you just got rid of your Ninja Turtles like last year or the year before? Something like that? I didn't mention it when you said it last time, but my favorite Ninja Turtle toy was a pizza thrower. I love that fucking thing.
The pizza thrower from it was like a gun that like shot.
No, it was like a gigantic tank thing that you could put the turtle in. It had these little plastic discs.
Yeah. I thought it went on their truck though, right? Their van.
No, it could be by itself because I never had the van and I had the pizza thrower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know like on the van they had a pizza thrower. It was like a full pie.
Okay.
And you put them in there and it just like shoots like full pies of pizza.
So it was also a tank version of it.
All right.
Yeah, and I had that. But anyway, Back to the Future though. I would love to have had a toy of the DeLorean.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I never had that. But I did actually sit in the Back to the Future 2 DeLorean at the Philly Car Show.
Which is this weekend, right?
Well, this year, but this was like years ago.
They're doing it this year, too. The DeLorean's at the Philly Car Show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's ironic. I didn't know that. That's just coincidence.
My sister and is taking her son, yeah. My nephew, who I gave the Ninja Turtles to.
See, it all ties together. We're making this work.
The Ghostbusters car is there. Ecto 1 is there.
Ecto 1's there?
Yeah.
I love that Walmart commercial. Have you seen that Walmart commercial for curbside pickup?
No, I don't think so.
It's they're promoting their curbside pickup, so they found all these like famous movie and TV cars, and they're all doing curbside pickup, and including
That's so cool, yeah.
including the new Bumblebee, like from the new movie, which looks pretty good.
Bumblebee is there today as well.
Is he? Yeah. All right. But like Kit shows up, the DeLorean shows up, the original '89 Batman car shows. No, I think it's Affleck's Batmobile, and then like the Jurassic Park Jeep from the original one. Like there's yeah, it's pretty neat. So, let's get into the movies. Rico, I will tell you, I did something I've never done for this show before, and it's all Mike's fucking fault. I'm just saying that now. Because the man showed up for the second time with a fucking legal pad full of notes. So I knew he was going to do that. So I took some fucking notes because I wasn't coming unprepared for this one.
I like to prep. I'm a prepper.
So, well, as long as you don't have like a bomb shelter with like fucking AK-47s in it.
Not yet, but I do have a plan.
So, should we just start from the beginning or what do you think, Rico?
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning. Do you guys know the origin and the inspiration for the script itself?
Yes, sir.
I don't, so you two
Mike,
go.
Take it away.
So one of the writers in the movie, Bob Gale, came up with the thought of would he hang out with his father in high school?
Oh, neat.
All right, so first off, let's answer that question.
Well, because his dad was the valedictorian or something like that, and he was like, I didn't hang out with the valedictorian in my high school, so would I have hung out with my father, the valedictorian, had I been in the same grade as him in high school? So that's where.
Well, I'm talking about let's actually answer that. Like our respective fathers. Would you hang out with your father in high school? You go back to the year they were 17 and you were 17. Would you hang out with your father?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Rico, you answer first because I got to think about that for a second.
Yeah, I'm going to think about it too, but I'm going to automatically say yes.
I think my dad actually ran this question by me when I was like 12 or 13. He's like, Rico, I think you and I would have been friends if we were the same age and we were with school together. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from, Dad?
Okay.
But because my dad's 80. So I'm like, okay, so if I went to your high school the same time as you, it'd be 1950. Like it would be really the same thing as Back to the Future.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, all right, that'd be interesting. I'd be into that. But I also knew my dad was a complete fucking nerd oddball, but not to the extent of like, like he wasn't, my dad's not into geeky shit. My dad was just like a history buff and he loved reading and he loved classical music. He just detested rock and roll. It still does. So I think he and I would have probably had some interesting arguments, but I also know that if I had a fight, he would be the person I would look for to help me in a fight.
Right.
That's how I clarified. I told my dad, I'm like, I think I'd have you as a friend, but I don't think I particularly like you.
Okay.
And he said, I'm your father. I don't even like you now.
Oh, ow. For me, Rico, it's a really interesting question for me because first off, I have two fathers I can answer that about. For number one.
All right, so then you have two answers. Go.
Right. So my adopted father, probably not. Love him to death, but probably not. We wouldn't have gotten along, I don't think. Forgetting age for a second, I theoretically could have hung out with my father when I was in high school, when he was in high school, because my biological father, because he would have been 17 when I was 4. So, that's a thing right there.
Okay.
So
you have the complete opposite age thing that my father and I have.
Yeah, kind of.
I was 53 when I was born. I was, in retrospect, I was sort of like my dad's midlife crisis. Some people get a fucking car. My dad had another son.
Well, yeah, okay. I didn't know where to go from that. But to answer the question seriously, yeah, if I could have been the same age as him, yeah, I think I would have hung out with him because I think I'd like to hang out with my dad now, my biological father, honestly, because he and I are very similar. So I would like to think we would have been pretty similar in high school if we were there at the same time too. So, So yeah, I think my biological father, yeah, my adopted father, not so much, and that's not a slight on him as much as I just don't think we would have gotten along as well.
So yeah, Mike, you are correct. That is the inspiration to it, and I think it went through like so many studios and producers passed on it. Like, I think every single one sort of had the same argument. Like, it's creepy that the mom is trying to go after her son. Like, that's not okay. If you take this out, it is really creepy. To be fair, it's really fucking creepy.
And it's a family movie.
Yeah,
it's a family movie, and I remember like,
what was the old saying from our days in high school? Keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was
I remember reading that the only one that Disney was okay with it, but they were like, oh, we want to change it, but like the mother raping scene, that's fine.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like it's creepy, but because I've heard it referred to as the mother raping scene before, and I don't feel like that's a accurate description of what happens.
Well, right off the start, you got a 17-year-old kid hanging out with a 50-year-old man scientist, and
that's always been your thing, Rico, right? I mean, that's always kind of been your thing. It's like you always wanted explanation on the relationship between Marty and Doc.
Well, I actually asked that aloud when I was rewatching them with Steph, and I said, How do you think they fucking met? And she said, I'd like to think that Doc went into like a guitar like place and got like a bunch of amps and everything to perform experiments on, and Marty was there testing an amp. and they sort of just made a relationship that way. And I'm like, okay, so but still, how? Like, at least Rick and Morty says it's like he's his grandfather. Like, at least give me that.
Yeah.
Like he's an uncle or something.
Well,
my Uncle Doc,
which is what he calls him when he's back in 1955.
Right.
If you recall, when Lorraine shows up, and he says it's my Uncle Doc. You know,
but even Doc looks at him like,
what? Yeah.
He looks at him like, what the fuck?
So.
I think Doc just put like a classified out looking for like lab rats.
15-year-old boy.
Well, no, I'm just saying like need some lab rats to do some tests on something, and maybe Marty was one of the subjects. They hit it off together and started hanging out. I don't know. Who the hell knows?
I have to ask you this, Rico. Does this fall into the category of when we were talking about like songs like Baby It's Cold Outside? Are we looking at this through 2018/19 goggles?
No, because I felt the same way when I watched it when I was a kid, and I'm sure we all did. We're all kind of like, why is this fucking, like, she is really, are we talking about like Lorraine and Marty? Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about
Doc and Marty?
No, I don't think there's anything like homoerotic about the two of them. I think if Crispin Glover's character was your father, you would look for another father figure as well.
Well, the original version of him. I don't know about the remake at the end, which we'll get to. But I mean, yeah.
Can we talk about Crispin Glover for a minute?
Please. He's a fucking nutcase from what I understand, but that's...
what was up with, like, it's kind of a charming performance, but if you remade that movie now, or if you just made that movie now, Crispin Glover's performance would have been just incredibly cringy. It's like,
why?
Hi, I'm your density. I mean, your destiny. Just like is fucking...
No. I think his performance is the best of the whole movie. I think he makes the movie, yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, like, and Mike can kind of back me up a little bit since we went to high school together. I was that awkward in high school. I would not have been... No, because see, I know you know about my relationship, but, like, getting to that point was not smooth sailing. Like, I didn't Casanova the shit out of her. That didn't go that well. Like...
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Crispin Glover as an actor. I'm talking about him as a person, as an actor. It's a weird performance for him to be George McFly. Obviously, he can't be too charming because he needs someone to set him and Lorraine up. But I'm saying Crispin Glover sucks.
What's that?
I'm saying Crispin Glover just sucks.
Well...
I love Crispin Glover.
I don't have a problem with him either, honestly. I'm with Mike on this one. I didn't have that much of a problem with him or his performance. If you didn't like it, that's your prerogative, but I got to tell you, I didn't really have a problem with it.
I kind of went into a Crispin Glover wormhole yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Oh, he's got music. He's got albums.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've never heard any of it. How does it sound?
Oh, it's great. It's like this.
Is it him laughing like George McFly the entire time?
It might as well have been. It's more of him like talking through out the songs rather than singing.
So like spoken word to music, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But like he's kind of carrying a tune, but it's more like it comes off more as like talking.
Right.
So he Shatnerizes it.
Oh God,
a little bit. But he does a couple cover songs too. Like he does "Boots Were Made for Walking."
Oh no!
Oh my God!
And then he did.
Boots are made for walking.
And then he did the cover of Ben song from the Jackson 5 about the pet mouse or whatever, the pet rat.
Yeah, he usually played Willard.
Yeah, I think he did a remake of Ben too, because Ben and Willard.
It was just Willard.
What's that?
It was only just one. It was just Willard.
But Willard was a remake of like a 60s or 70s horror movie of the same name, and it was a sequel to Ben, or vice versa.
Ben was the sequel to Willard, and then they made those in the 70s, and then Willard was just a standalone remake.
Okay.
I'd heard talk they were going to make a sequel, and look, to be fair, I'm being a little harsh about Crispin Glover. he is good in that creepy fucking thin man role. Like, I mean, going back to like Charlie's Angels, he is effectively creepy as a creepy thin man in the fucking awful fucking movie of Charlie's Angels. That was a 2000 movie in perfect 2000 like jargon and cinema.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break here because I found something. We'll be right back.
Was that part of the
okay, I can't take any much more of that. I've had enough. That was my ears are bleeding. Like that hurt.
Available for purchase on Amazon.com or iTunes.
How's your headache, Rico?
It sounded like Robert Plant taking a shit through a tuba.
That's actually the name of the album.
Yeah. People who bought this album on Amazon also bought a shotgun and a noose.
Yeah, oh my God.
I mean, I gotta give him some credit. He sounded like the best shitty cover band of The Cure I've ever heard.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's another song. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Yes. No, dude. I think I need a cigarette.
There's another song I'm gonna play later in the episode that is much better, and it's I'll tease it now, but it's by Thomas Wilson because he gets asked so many questions about Back to the Future. He actually created a song for a stand-up that answers all the questions. It's really fucking funny. I've heard it before.
He actually walks around with like a note card with all the questions that people ask him.
Yeah.
All the answers are on this note card. So when people come up to him, he just hands it to him.
I've heard
you're
that.
Biff from da-da. He's just like, shut up. Reaches into his coat pocket, hands him the card, says, keep on walking.
But from what I understand, he's not shitty about it. Like it's fun. Like he's not, yeah. So
no, he's not like, what do you want, butthead?
Right.
He's not Biff. I've actually heard he's super like a really nice guy, but
I've heard that too.
Because going back to the first movie, I know Mike knows this, but see, don't tell him, Mike.
Okay.
CJ, do you know who was the original Marty McFly?
Yeah, it's Eric Stoltz.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So Eric Stoltz was filmed for he did like 8 weeks of filming, and they just realized that he was. I mean, I've heard them say the term unfunny, but they've also said he just took it really seriously.
Yeah, he was too serious of an actor.
And he was roughing up Tom Wilson.
I've actually heard it compared to Ed Norton and the way he is on set. Yeah. That's one comparison I heard.
Is that why we don't see Eric Stoltz anymore?
Yeah.
There's only one Edward Norton?
Yeah. He changed his name from Eric Stoltz to Ed Norton and still acts that way? Yeah.
So I've read that he almost gave Tom Wilson a fucking almost broke his collarbone.
Oh, really?
Roughing up in the cafeteria scene. And poor Tom Wilson was finally going to get his revenge when he was supposed to punch Marty in the gut or something. And then they fired Eric Stoltz and cast
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, Eric Stoltz actually had the casting. I'm sorry. Eric Stoltz actually had the cast and crew call him Marty on set.
Yeah. I remember reading that.
I didn't hear that. But yeah, there's a lot of method people like that. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is like that. When he gets into a role, he stays that way. And Matty Granger alluded to Pacino being that way when we interviewed him. He didn't get into details, but he said Pacino was kind of like that.
Well, Pacino is definitely an old school method. I think Robert De Niro is also. Dustin Hoffman for sure is a method actor. But Peter Weller of fucking RoboCop fame, he tried. Is it Peter? No, it's Peter Weir.
No, Weller. You got it right.
No, Peter. Okay, yeah, Peter Weller. He tried. He is a method actor, and he for the first RoboCop, he tried having the director Verhoeven fucking call him RoboCop or just Robo, and then after a couple days, the director's like, this is fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah, dude,
I can't be calling you Robo the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Peter Weller fan. I would, because ironically, I just watched Star Trek Into Darkness again not too long ago, where he plays the main bad guy, and
yeah.
I mean, I like those movies. I like that J.J. Abrams interpretation, but he was.
He was good in Dexter. He had a small reoccurring role as a shitty PI. He was good in that. But I've also heard like he also is a complete fucking asshole as a person where he slammed. Yeah, he like got into like an altercation with Corey Haim. Amazingly enough, like and this is before Corey Haim was on drugs. Like he was a kid.
Yeah, I'm thinking Feldman because Feldman's a little loopy himself. You know what? That's it. You get him and fucking Crispin together and do like a duet album. That would be the shit. I'd buy that album.
I think they're playing Bono this summer.
That would be just shit. I agree with your word, but I would drop the
They might play the Super Bowl next year too. I don't know.
Right. They'll be the halftime show. It'll be better than Maroon 5.
Crispin and Feldman.
Let's get back to the movie for a minute though, because like I said, Mike showed up with notes, so I definitely took some to be prepared. And I don't know where you want to start with this thing, but it's dude, I love that movie. I mean, they're all good. That's why we're talking about them. But the first one,
what's your favorite out of all three?
For years, I used to say 2. I don't know that I feel that way anymore. I think
because you actually saw what 2015 is like.
You would that too. We'll talk about Back to the Future Day when we get there, because there was an actual Back to the Future Day on October 26, 2015.
Sure was.
But I will say that 1 is probably my favorite just because it's the OG, but I think 3 is underrated. Like, having gone back to watch these for this episode, I didn't realize how good 3 really is.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And I think it's... You didn't see it?
No, I disagree.
Oh, you disagree? Okay. Well,
I
you like
love
Halloween, so, you know.
Hey.
Yeah, fuck you. Make like a tree and fuck you.
That's what we should call the episode. Make like a tree and fuck you.
Make like a dick and fuck off.
Yeah. Right? Should we talk about that real quick? How, like, that had to be fun for him to fuck all those up on purpose.
That was
his idea.
He improvised.
Yeah.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's why we know our shit.
I know you do. But that's always been the case, Rico, and that's what I love about our show is you know the deep dive stuff much better than I do, and I appreciate that.
Mike, what's your favorite?
I mean, I got to say the first one tops them all. But you know what? I used to think that like the second one was my second favorite, and like the third one was just like, you know, trash or whatever. But after rewatching it the other day, the third one, I was like, this one's really not that bad at all. Like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was younger watching it. I guess like maybe the love story didn't really, you know, do it for me when I was younger between Doc and Clara. But I love Mary Steenburgen. I've always loved her. So. And just rewatching it this time, I was like, you know what? They hit all the plot points that they needed to. I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank now, but I don't know.
If I can add on to that, I think my personal favorite is the second one. I'll explain why when we talk about the second one. But I think the third one, as a separate entry, like 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and 3 is 3. Sure. I think 3 is the weakest, but it all makes sense. It makes sense that it would be in the Old West. I think I have a problem. I'm the complete opposite of you. I don't like Mary Steenburgen. I think it just, as a trilogy, it is amazing. That's why I try really hard to just look at it as one long film.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because once you do 1, 2, and 3, then like, well, 3 just sucks. But I'm also biased because I'm not a Western fan. That's the other thing.
Well, neither am I.
Yeah, me neither, really. So,
but I just think they did it well. I mean, for it being an all Western, and I think to Mike's point, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like, I think that's why I felt like 3 was the weakest for a long time. But when I watched it last night, because I watched them all over the last 2 days, and I didn't look at it from the point of view of a Western. I looked at it from the point of view of a Back to the Future movie. And when I looked at it from that perspective, through that lens, it like to Mike's point, it hit all the points. It hit what it needed to hit to be a Back to the Future movie. And I think it did it better than 2 did, honestly. No, and again, to your point, Rico, it's all one gigantic long movie. That's why, I mean, and we have not talked about it on this show yet, but that's how I look at The Matrix. I look at The Matrix as one gigantic movie. It's not 3 movies, and we'll save that for another day, but like that's same concept. So I get where you're coming from, you know? And I don't disagree.
I think it really boils down to I don't know, man. I think if it was just a different actress, I think I would have been.
What, for Clara?
There's something about her.
Oh, you're killing me, Rico. Killing me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I mean, it's good that we're having different opinions on this so we can have a
He's going to put a fucking dick coming out of your forehead on the picture now.
Yeah, that's what you're going to get dick on the forehead.
I love Mary Steenburgen. I wish that I was fucking, I wish I was Doc so that I could fucking watch the stars with her and talk about Uranus.
Dude, Mary Steenburgen still looks good to this day.
I haven't seen her recently.
She's probably in her late 50s, early 60s or whatever, but she still looks good.
Nothing to do with her looks, and she still is a beautiful woman. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I think it's just her delivery. It's nothing to do with her looks. It is definitely her delivery and her voice. I think it's just I have a problem with. I think it's just a cringy thing where she's like, "Golly." Like, come on.
She's playing that damsel in distress role.
Yeah,
too,
I think that goes back to some of the things we've talked about in general, Rico, where like actors are somewhat held to what the scripts give them, and that's what that is. Like, I've got a bigger problem with them replacing Jennifer than I do with Mary Steenburgen or whatever her name is.
That was because she quit.
Well, I get that, but I mean, like, even to the point that they reshot, which I appreciate the continuity, but they reshot the whole last sequence from the first one for the beginning of the second one to fit Elizabeth Shue in, which I think was maybe not the whole sequence, but all the parts where she was on screen anyway. You
have to make up for continuity. That makes sense.
Right. I'm saying that was a smart idea, but like
Also, they didn't even intend for this to be a trilogy. This was just supposed to be a one-off movie.
Originally,
When they were making the second one, they rushed into the third one. That's why it came out like a year later.
Yeah, because the first one did so good, the studio picked it up to do. Okay, you're doing 2 more. You know that you're gonna make this a trilogy. So,
and if I recall, and it might be one of the earliest examples of this, but I think they shot 2 and 3 simultaneously.
Yeah, it was like shot over like 11 months or something like that, and released like 3 months apart or something.
Yeah, so it's a la Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, except there's larger distance between the two, but in terms of the way it was shot, or Lord of the Rings where they shot all 3 of them at the same time, so
look, I don't have any defense for why I didn't like Mary Steenburgen. I just
and we're totally giving you shit right now.
Yeah, right. And that's okay. All kidding aside, Rico. Like, if that's your least favorite, that's your least favorite. But I mean, we still got to discuss it, So
well, I like the second one most. I mean, look, we're all in agreement. The first one is
the OG.
You got to respect it. The second one I love in particular because it ties in with the first one so fucking seamlessly, where it even has 2 Martys in the same scene, both trying to do the same fucking thing but doing different shit. And at the same time, it shows an alternate form of 2015 where Biff is Donald Trump. I mean, really.
That was 1985, not 2015. When he's basically Donald Trump, it's 85.
You're right. That was my bad. The alternate 1985.
No worries.
Yeah, so he's basically Donald Trump. I mean, to the point where they even said they based it on Donald Trump.
Oh, did they? I didn't hear that. That doesn't surprise me, but I get it.
And now that we have President Trump, you can see the similarities.
There's actually a deleted scene of Biff actually grabbing some pussies in it, but they had to cut it for a time.
I love it. Nicely done, Mike. I like it. So, should I go over some of these notes that I took? Because I don't do that very often, so I feel like I should. All right, so I only have a couple of notes on one, because again, we all agree it's pretty close to perfection. Do we not think that?
Oh, yeah.
As a trilogy?
No, just the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty close to perfection.
Yeah.
I've actually have heard that like film classes will use the script template as a basis to write the quote perfect script.
Okay. I do So I have four things I wrote down. One of them is kind of a question. The rest are just kind of observations and not really nitpicking as much as just things I noticed, but like it didn't change my perspective on the movie or the series in any way. So the first thing I have here is when the time machine comes back from its first voyage with Einstein in it, it's covered in ice. And I mean covered, like a shell of ice. And even when Doc touches it, he like reacts and
goes, what is it hot? No, it's cold, damn cold.
Right. And I don't think the time machine's ever covered in ice again at any point throughout the rest of the trilogy when it travels. I think that's the only time you see it covered in ice.
They do show it covered in ice on some other
occasions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I made sure, like, as I was rewatching the movies, to make sure that I actually see some of the, the ice covered.
But it's not to that point, to that level of ice coverage.
No.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, that was the first time they went back in time, so maybe it has something to do with that.
I'm not. It's not a big deal, but it's something I observed, and I just wanted to point that out. I thought.
Because like when Marty goes back, a couple minutes later, and he like crashes into the barn. Yeah, it's really not icy at all.
Right, and then a lot of the other transfers, like there's none. Like I'll jump to the second one, which I have notes on. I'll get to that in a minute. But like when Biff comes back from stealing the thing, there's no ice on the fucking thing.
Yeah,
they would. They don't realize it's stolen until hours or days or whatever you want to call it later. Like,
I would argue that Doc made modifications because he went to the future, got some upgrades.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. That I will agree with you. But to Mike's point about when he's in the barn on Peabody's farm with trying to breed the pine trees, like
I do remember watching a scene that wasn't the first initial travel scene or whatever. And like later on, I'm like, oh yeah, they did keep up with the ice on the car, but I do remember it not being in the barn.
And it's not consistent. Like it might have been.
It's definitely not consistent.
Because when he comes back from the future, even at the end of the movie, it's not covered in ice. I don't think.
Yeah.
So, or back from the past, whatever. So that's that one. The other thing is, I'll save this one because I think it could be a fun conversation. So I'll save this one. Next one is the guy who. This is just an observation more than anything, but the guy who cuts in on George and Lorraine at the dance after the whole scene with Biff looks awful lot like the guy who plays Sherman in American Pie.
Yes.
Terminator.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
It's not him.
It's such a random thing, like because it's like, who is this random fucking dude who totally looks like the Shermanator?
Totally looks like Shermanator.
maybe because Chuck Sherman jokes that he is the Shermanator. Maybe he did travel back through time and cut in.
Maybe.
I mean, even at one point, they kind of like in American Reunion, it shows his POV like looking at a girl. It looks like a computer, like the Terminator POV. Where
I think that's 2. I don't think that's Reunion.
No, it's Reunion.
Well, he does it in 2 as well. So,
but it doesn't show the POV of a machine like the Terminator. It doesn't do that. No, it doesn't. It does the it does the music, but it doesn't show the POV until Reunion. So it's almost like they're implying that Sherman is a fucking Shermanator, and maybe he went back and tried to be like, I'm gonna fucking try and fuck Leah Thompson.
Right. It's not a big deal. It's just something I noticed. I thought it was kind of funny.
He also looked like the kid who was the head bully in A Christmas Story. I
didn't see that, so
nice.
I don't like that movie.
You never seen Christmas Story?
I fucking hate that movie.
All right, we're not doing this again.
Now I got Mike back. I redeemed myself.
The other thing is this one's a bit of a maybe a conversation starter, but the wires that they run from the clock tower across the street. At one point, the tree falls and knocks them loose, if you recall.
Yeah.
And yet, Doc is able to slide down the thing. If that tree branch knocked it down, his body weight should have pulled it the fuck apart. And don't tell me it's because and my other complaint is he wraps part of it around the hand on the clock, it shouldn't be long enough to reach now.
That's probably the most far-fetched part of the whole movie. I would say.
Thank you. All right.
If you're really in it, look, if we're doing far-fetched and look,
the whole thing's kind of far-fetched.
Yeah, but the biggest plot hole to the whole trilogy is the fact they forgot to acknowledge that there is 60 seconds in a minute. So when the lightning hits the clock tower, it says the exact time with the exception of the seconds. There is no way that they would know the exact moment a lightning bolt would hit the fucking clock tower, therefore giving enough fucking power to charge the fucking thing for the car. So it works. You have to. That's the one part where I'm like, this is where logic just says fuck it.
And everyone, you've just heard the last episode of the PodAskew Podcast because Rico has just destroyed my childhood, and I no longer ever want to speak to him again.
I mean, look, I don't mean to shit on our childhood, but that is a big gaping fucking gaping plot hole.
I can battle that.
Did you really? I'd love to hear you defend this.
So
here we go. Ding ding.
So in the beginning of the movie, when Marty and Jennifer are walking or whatever, and the woman asks for money to save the clock tower, she says at the exact time lightning struck the clock. I don't know what was the exact time.
10:04, but Rico's got a point because if it hits the clock tower, I understand where Rico's coming from, and that's
I get
why,
it too.
If it hits at 10:04 and 27 seconds, but Marty hits the wire at 10:04 and 15 seconds, guess what? No charge.
Yeah, I get it, but she did say at the direct stroke of 10:04, that's when the lightning hit. So it was exactly 10:04.
That is some seriously fucking choosy lightning bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we talk about it, at least I talk about it on this show all the time, about you have to suspend some level of disbelief when you're watching stuff because, and that's one of those moments, I think. I think you have to just kind of,
But that's also praise for the trilogy as a whole because that's really,
right.
Like, time travel movies is really tricky.
Yeah.
Like, Terminator keeps fucking up.
Oh, God. And there's been a lot of other ones that have been terrible, too. Time travel movies as a whole.
So if this is the reason the trilogy is so fucking good is because clearly the filmmakers know their own shit. They especially in Back to the Future 2, when they have, two separate Martys running through at the same time, doing the same shit as well as different shit. They know what's going on. They have Marty fucking climbing above the what would you call it? The scaffolding or something when the other Marty's playing fucking rock and roll underneath. Like they know their shit where they can, break the fourth wall almost like it's fourth dimensionally is how however fucking Doc phrases it. But that's the only part where it's like, motherfucker. If you just look at this logically, then either Zeus is is really particular to that clock tower being annihilated at fucking 10:04, or Bob Gale was like, fuck seconds.
Which is the more likely of the answers. So my last part from part one for me, and I don't know if this was done on purpose or not, but Doc really gives Marty the idea for the entire plot of 2 in 1, where he says, I'm going to get to see who wins the next 25 World Series. Now, whether that was on purpose or not, I don't... Well, I mean, obviously the line in the first one wasn't on purpose, because to Mike's point, they didn't know they were making the second and the third at that point. But I don't know if that's where they got the idea for the plot of 2, from that line.
It's possible. But I think, once you think of, a time machine, your first thought is to, how can I make money off this?
Of course, yeah.
So... I think that was Doc's reason, thinking behind it.
Or Marty's.
But at the same time, it also goes against everything Doc stood for.
Right, and Doc didn't say it to make money. Doc just said to get to see who wins. But
Oh, you say he planted it into Marty's head.
Exactly, right. And so that when Marty's in the future and sees this book exists, then he takes it a step further. So I don't blame Doc for so much as blame him, but like you said, it kind of plants the seed in Marty's head a little bit.
One of the interesting things that when I was a kid, I hated this about Marty, and then rewatching the whole trilogy like recently, I was like, this is really good character arc. Where he is called a chicken or being yellow, and he's like, nobody calls me chicken.
Right.
And then ultimately it shows that leads to his fucking downfall in a weird way. He fucks up his hand. He, doesn't become a rock star like he's always wanted to. And then it takes for the third movie for him to not have a race with fucking Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep. Needles.
Which by the way, did you guys see the new movie, Boy Erased?
No.
Oh man, it's a recent movie by Joel Edgerton. It's all about like Christian gay conversion camps and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Been meaning to see it.
Fucking dude, Flea has a small, not small. He's a role in the movie, and it was weird to watch Flea in Back to the Future, then all of a sudden randomly see him pop up in this fucking movie.
Okay.
The dude can act.
I've heard that. I've heard he's a good actor. Yeah.
It's always a nice little treat is when he pops up in movies, though. It's like, fucking Flea.
Yeah, right? It's fucking Flea.
I knew his voice before. I mean, I was never a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but I knew his voice from like a Nickelodeon show, the Wild Thornberrys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays the wild fucking crazy kid.
Okay, I've never watched the show, so I can't say too much about it, but...
Fair enough. What was your question?
No, it wasn't so much a question as much as I just thought it might spark some conversation, is that it seems like Doc planted the seeds for Marty to do the scheme that he ends up trying to pull off that ultimately ends up in the entire plot of 2.
Yeah.
Marty's not the smartest.
No.
In these movies.
Marty's not. No, he's really not. Especially when he's constantly going through time travel shit, he still questions everything. He's like, wait, Doc, you're telling me that this, like, yes, Marty, like, fucking pay attention.
Yeah, when I was just watching the third one, and they're in like the outside movie theater or whatever, and like he has to like take drive the time machine into like the movie theater screen, and there's like a painting of like all these Indians or whatever, and Doc's like, you just drive straight through there at 88 miles per hour, and you'll go back in time, and Marty's like, well, Doc, won't I hit the Indians if I, when I'm driving? And he's like, no, you'll be back in time. Like, Marty, you've done this like 5 fucking times already. Like, you don't understand that the movie theater's not going to be there, or the movie screen's not going to be there.
To your point, though, Mike.
Marty, you got like time travel jet lag. Fucking wake up. Figure this out.
To your point, though, they do make a reference to it at one point. His ineptitude of calculating that.
Yeah.
Because when they're talking about how they're going to get back to 85 when he's in the Old West, then they're talking about the train pushing across the bridge. He's like, the bridge isn't here. Mm-hmm. And Doc's like, but the bridge will be here in 85 when we get back there.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're just not thinking fourth dimensionally. And Marty straight out says, I got a real problem with that. So, like, he does acknowledge at some point that
I guess so.
But, I mean, your point's valid. I'm just saying at one point they eventually... I guess someone might have said something to them like, Marty's kind of a dumbass. Like, we need to cover that.
I mean, from the opening sequence, you see him fucking put an amp, put the amps up to a 10, and he hits the guitar and blasts through the wall.
Which, by the way, I am a quasi-musician. That is the shittiest fucking guitar on the planet.
It's an electric ukulele.
It's essentially what it is. Like, seriously... I mean, fuck that noise. Literally. That thing was... Dude,
I have more of a problem with the fact that he just trashed Doc's fucking house and then left him out, and then lied about it on the phone. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll keep that in mind. You're like, dude, no. Just say, like, hey, by the way, I fucked up your house.
To that point, though, Doc kind of trashed the place by leaving all the gear on and had, like, piles of dog food all over the floor. So, I mean... God.
Yeah, there's like 5 days worth of dog food just sitting in the bowl, slopped over on the floor. Ugh.
Which, by the way, going to the third movie, like him having that whole fucking Ice Cube thing, like
Ice-T?
Look, I love me a good Rube Goldberg machine, but
That's not exactly a Rube Goldberg machine. But
it
okay.
kind of is.
Well, wait, in the first one or the third one?
Well, the first one's definitely a Rube Goldberg.
Yeah.
But the third, this giant fucking contraption to make one single ice cube. When I recently watched it, my reaction was hearing Thanos' lines like, all that for one drop of blood.
Yeah.
It was like, all that for one.
That's pretty good. I like it.
It's just like, come on, Doc, are you that fucking bored of the Old West that you fucking baked an ice cube?
It was like a brown ice cube at that.
I was more impressed that he made electricity.
He didn't make electricity.
Did they have electricity at that point? 89?
It was steam.
No. But when he when he does the model railroading to do that's electricity.
You're right.
That's right. He man-made like batteries or whatever.
Yeah. I'm more impressed that he made electricity before.
I'm more impressed that he didn't fucking patent that shit.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he could have stayed back there and made billions of dollars.
He'd be like, "Hey, Marty, I'm sorry I fucked this up for you. Here's a bank number. You can go and get all the money that I made for you."
The flying train, though, was a little much, I gotta say.
That's the grand finale. You know, you got to go off on a big note.
Yeah, it was a little corny, though. Compared to the rest of the movie,
How in the fuck did he fucking make it? That's what I'm saying. It works on steam, okay? And how? How? You still need the fucking flux capacitor.
I guess he created one somehow.
In 18...
That's kind of where I'm coming from, too. Yeah. But, you know, that aside, Mike's right. It's just kind of like the grand finale. If that's the only real major... I mean, I know you don't like Clara, but, I mean, from a goofball perspective, if that's the only...
I still have one more question about the third one.
Okay. We're jumping around, so go for it.
Why is Leah Thompson play Seamus's wife?
I thought that was weird too, but it's just to keep the cast together, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it was about.
No. Does that mean there's some fucking, like...
inbreeding?
A little bit of inbreeding?
I think it's more of just...
playing Marty's siblings, but not fucking Marty.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you look at some family trees, there are, without actual inbreeding, there are weird similarities sometimes you'll see. So I'm going to chalk it up to just like a weird coincidence that they look similar, but they're not the same, branch of the family tree or whatever.
Maybe it's a distant cousin.
Go with the fact that Marty is never fucking being recognized, especially when he's playing Seamus and he's Marty, and they're like, how is his wife not like, hey, you look exactly like my fucking husband, minus the red hair. Like, right. How is it that, like, George, going back to Crispin, like, when fucking Marty is 17, how come he's not approaching Lorraine and be like, Lorraine, why does our son look like that dude who set us up in high school? Is there something you need to tell me about?
Right. Like, yeah, no, that's a valid point, man. I can't argue against that. Like,
why did we name this kid after the dude who hooked us up when it really, if you're really going to be honest, it should have been named after the first son. Marty's older brother should have been called Marty.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, those his siblings are fucking useless in that whole movie.
And the whole franchise are just useless.
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, I really want there to be a scene where like even Biff recognizes Marty being like, my grandfather told me about you, or I remember you.
Fuck that when he's handing him the keys to the truck. He's like, didn't I just fight you like 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I remember, I was like, why he even says, like, this seems awfully familiar. If it was awfully fucking familiar, you'd recognize Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox looks very noticeable. He's 5'4", and he's got a squeaky fucking voice.
There is one point where it is kind of acknowledged in the second one, where he's standing there talking to Doc after the whole thing with Griff, and his son comes out of the Cafe 80s, and he looks at back and forth, and he goes, two of them? So it's not exactly what you're saying, but there is some degree of reference to it. But that's the only point in the entire trilogy that happens. No, you're valid.
I'm saying it's a perfect trilogy, but if you really dive deep into it, you're like, wait a fucking second. Should someone recognize this cocksucker?
Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. So,
that's what makes the movie great. The continuity errors.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I think that's part of what gives it the charm that it has, is that kind of thing.
I do like what they did with the principal. What was his name? Fucking
Strickland.
Strickland. Yeah.
Strickland. I love how Strickland is the same age in every aspect, with the exception of him being the Old West. But that is implied that that's him as a little boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that dude, it must be like around 90.
Yeah, by the time 85 comes around, sure. Yeah. The only time you don't see him is in the future. It's the only time you don't see Strickland in the entire series, like during a time period.
I guess it's true, because everyone else, compared to him, is a slacker because he's like 100 years old and he's still doing the same shit.
I gotta tell you, I love that dude and everything I've seen him in. I haven't seen him in a ton of movies.
Top Gun?
Yeah, but he's great as that Colonel in Top Gun, too. I mean,
I just can't think of anything else besides.
That's basically it, but still.
Speaking of little roles, I think we covered this, Mike, when you were on here last time. Who's the little kid in the arcade?
Yeah, it's Elijah Wood.
There you go.
We did talk about that last time, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That was sort of the seedling of like, oh shit, we definitely need to do a Back to the Future, because we were like,
there might have been
a couple. I think that's what it was.
I think you're right. So should I, Mike? You got a pad of notes over there. Do you have anything you want to bring up before we shift into another movie?
No, not really. I'm kind of just like looking at this.
Fair enough.
I'm kind of just looking at it as we go along, and if anything like spikes,
you do you, bro.
I'll bring it up. But yeah,
you.
I'll do this. I found this out today when I was doing some research on the third one.
Yeah.
The part where Marty and Doc are at the movie theater, the outside movie theater again. Marty comes out and he's dressed in his like weird, wacky cowboy attire.
Yeah.
He comes out. He comes out and he says, like, Doc, Clint Eastwood would never wear this. As he's saying that, there's two movie posters right next to him.
One of them is Eastwood?
Both of them.
Oh, neat.
Both of them are Clint Eastwood movies. Like one of his or two of his like first ones, and they both came out in 1955.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The two movies were Revenge of the Creature, and the other one was Tarantula.
Okay.
So,
well, if I could throw some awesome Clint Eastwood trivia your way, Clint Eastwood is from my neck of the woods, and he actually went to two high schools that I know very well. He went to Oakland Tech, which was like around the corner from my house, and then he also went to Piedmont High, which was the high school that I went to. And he got expelled from one of them. I don't know. I think it was Piedmont. I think he got expelled from Piedmont by riding his motorcycle across the fucking football field.
Nice.
And this is like, the dude's like born 1930. So this has been like 1944, 45. What an amazingly fucking badass way to just say fuck school and get expelled.
He's a badass, man.
By the way, it's not in the credits, but in IMDb, he is listed as an uncredited character in Back to the Future 3.
It's because they show that the film, the clip. Okay.
Yeah. Because of or it might be 2 actually, but yeah.
Maybe it is 2. Yeah. But a little foreshadowing there. Yeah.
But still, well, yeah, and I think that's going back to the continuity of the 3 movies. I think that's one of the things that I liked about it is, so in the second one, they're watching the Clint Eastwood movie. There's a scene with the bulletproof vest, for lack of a better phrase, and then they go and basically recreate it in the third one with the scene against Buford. So I think that kind of shit they do throughout the series is a lot of fun, and I'm glad that they made it a point to do that. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I think that makes it work. It gives it the credibility that I think other trilogies are lacking sometimes.
Yeah, and they hit all
and that's what I'm saying. As a trilogy, it works amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to see it all in one fucking go to really, really appreciate the minute details they go with.
Agreed.
Mike, what were you saying?
Yeah, you were saying.
I was just say, like, every movie they all hit on the same like gags and situations, like Biff finding McFly like in the cafe, for 1 and 2, and on the third one he finds him in the saloon. Like, I thought I told you never to come in here. Like stuff like that. So they keep on hitting like those things like throughout like all three. Like Biff driving into the Manor. The Manor is owned by A. Jones, and just like little things like that you see throughout like all three, which like brings it together, which makes it seem like it's like one long movie.
Real quick, sorry Rico, just to Mike's point about those movies on the wall there at the movie theater. According to IMDb, he is uncredited in both of those movies.
Yeah, he's not like the star actor. He had like very limited roles in it.
But he's not even credited it, so that's just for them to deep dive and put that up there. I think is even cooler.
Because I think it was like one of it, like two of his first movies.
No. He was in 4 movies that year. He's not credited in. He's credited in one of them. The rest of them he's not credited in at all. I'm sorry, 5 movies, and it's Tarantula, Lady Godiva of Coventry, Francis in the Navy, which is the one he is credited in. Revenge of the Creature, and then there's a TV movie that he's credited in. But in terms of theatrical releases, there's only one he was credited in.
Oh, I got another trivia for you in a second. Go ahead, Rico. I
was going to say, did you guys recognize who played the band in the third one?
Oh, it's ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's easy.
I remember reading that they had a camera broke when they were filming it, and so like Michael J. Fox asked ZZ Top to just perform some like songs, and then it went on for like hours, and then someone went to Zemeckis like, "Is the camera fixed?" It's like, "Oh, dude, the camera's been fixed for hours. I'm just letting you guys like have your fun."
It's ZZ Top. Let them fucking play, dude. Yeah. By the way, speaking of band scenes, going back to the second movie for a minute, do you know they reshot that entire dance sequence for the second movie? That's not film footage from the first one. They reshot that entire sequence.
I thought it was both. I thought they took original footage and then previous footage.
They probably did. Yeah.
The thing I saw, the special I saw was that because they made, like Michael J. Fox was saying, that the biggest struggle for him doing that sequence was having to do the guitar part identically to the way he did it the first time.
But it looked so damn good.
It did. He did an amazing job, but he said it was one of the hardest parts of doing that sequence for the second one was because he had to go and reshoot that.
Well, that could have also been a contributor to the early onset of his disease. I remember like he was starting to get the Parkinson's between 2 and 3 was when he really started noticing it.
I thought it wasn't until Spin City.
I thought it was 3 for sure. He said he started noticing the twitch of his finger.
It might have been Spin City where he really kind of was like, it's a thing now, or diagnosed,
Yeah. He knew there was something seriously wrong, but
because he said that's why his character in Spin City used to walk around with his hand in his pocket all the time, because it was the hand with twitch. He would keep that in his pocket to hide the twitch from Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So,
which I've heard like,
oh, it's a bitch.
I've heard he's sort of taking a turn of the worse. If I'm
I mean, he's acting again, like, full-time. He's acting quite a bit. He's in a series somewhere. I forget what it is. I'll have to look it up. But he is doing more work recently. Like, he took a long time off. So unless there was a massive turn in the wrong direction, he started acting quite a bit again.
I may have read wrong. I thought I read that he was, like, not doing great.
I will tell you, and I'll get into it in a second, because I have some fun things about 2, but then I have some serious gaps with 2. That I need to point out that I feel like we could talk about. But let's get into this real quick. He's doing some voice work. He had a reoccurring role on that show, Designated Survivor. It was a Kiefer Sutherland show that's, I think, been canceled already. Where he was... So... Real quick, Rico, just so you know what it is. You know, with the State of the Union, when they do the State of the Union, they keep one person out of the chamber. It's like the Secretary of Defense or somebody. Like, he's pretty low down but they keep one person out so that if something happens, there's still someone that can run the government. And someone blows up the Capitol building during the State of the Union.
Right.
And and Kiefer Sutherland was that guy that it kept out. And
I vaguely remember the trailer or the premise of this. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were familiar. My bad. So apparently he had a reoccurring role in that, and he had a reoccurring role in The Good Wife. He was on that show too, and that was just recently. So, let's see. So,
I had another little trivia thing.
Go.
It's a rumor. It's another little trivia rumor I heard today.
That's okay.
So you know the bum in the first one? His name is Red. Red the bum. Now you know when at the very end the DeLorean crashes into a movie theater?
Yeah.
Do you remember what's playing at that movie theater?
No, not off the top of my head.
I just saw it.
Well, it's not like any. Well, it might be a real movie. It's a porno movie.
Well, it's a porno theater that I remember.
It's a porno theater. So apparently, this is a rumor now. The guy who played Red the Bum
was in the porno.
That was on the marquee. But it's a rumor, so I don't know. And it's called Orgy American Style.
What's it called?
Orgy American Style. I didn't look it up, but I remember I was just doing
I was
just doing research and I saw it today.
You're
and I was
search Orgy American Style. It's going to come up with 30 fucking movies with that title.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get into the Red. I'm just going to try to find Red on IMDb and see if it pops up. No pun intended. Speaking of famous actors, there's another real famous actor that got his. I don't know if he got his start, but he had a small reoccurring role in this series. What do you know who that is?
Can you say it again?
I missed that whole thing.
There's another, because we were talking earlier about Elijah Wood getting his start. There's another quasi or famous actor who had a small role in this, and I might have been one of his first. I'd have to look up.
I know. I think I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Yep. He's one of Biff's henchmen, for lack of a better word.
He plays match or matches or something like that?
Match. Yeah.
Such a cool name.
And I remember he doesn't say anything until the second one.
Yeah.
Right.
You do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way.
Mike, I don't know if it's a porn, but Orgy American Style is a real movie, and yes, he was in it.
Oh, well, there you go.
1973.
Wow.
1973.
How did that conversation come up? He's like, the homeless guy is an actor. He's just like, hey, just so you guys know, I was in this fucking porno. It'd be really fun if you put that porno on the marquee. And then I'm in the scene there, and Spielberg's like, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Well, okay, here's a quick summary of the movie. It says a class
dick goes into vagina, repeat.
Jesus. No, this feels more like a Van Wilder level comedy. It doesn't. I don't think it's an actual porn. It seems like it's a sex. It says it's a sex comedy. It says classic wild 70s R-rated sex comedy. Movie nut hamburger waitress Alice Goodbuddy sleeps her way to stardom via encounters with crew and cast of a rock musical movie. It's a bumpy road for Alice, however, because of a series of comic mishaps on the set. A ribald romp that Roger Corman calls hilarious. The funniest, truest take on Hollywood ever. So it's more about an actress who sleeps her way to the top. Eventually, what it boils down to.
Yeah, I didn't do any research on it. I just saw that. I saw it and I was like, "Oh, that's gold."
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Also the bum in the movie. He's also the mayor. He's also the guy, the white mayor running for mayor in 1955.
Oh, wow.
When the trucks really? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. I will give you that one. Good job, Mike.
Dude, Goldie fucking Wilson, put that dude on the street.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
Mayor.
That's why he had to do all those porno movies, you know?
Yeah, right. All right, so I'm going to start with the fun part of 2, and then I'm going to hit the glaring holes that I have, because there are some in 2 that I really need to I feel like I need to touch on. So the fun stuff, what I did, I went above and beyond the duty, I feel like, a little bit. When they're looking at the newspaper after the scene with Griff, where they've already crashed into the mall, I paused the movie and took a picture so that I could read the headlines, because I wanted to see what they got right, what they got wrong about 15, I think? Yeah. 2015. So, there's only a couple things on here, but one of them that was really kind of like interesting is if you're a sports fan, there's a pitcher who was suspended from baseball for using a bionic arm. So there's that. Then there is this one. There's a female president. Says the president says she's tired of reporters asking the same question over and over again. So we've got a female president in 2016, which
almost happened.
Almost happened. There is, let's see, man was killed from falling litter. So someone threw litter out of a hover vehicle and it killed a man. That was interesting to me.
Goddamn Trump drivers.
Yeah. The slam ball playoffs were starting, which I found interesting because there actually was a sport called slam ball briefly that has come and gone, but it was basketball with trampolines.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I used to watch slam ball. I was a fan. I liked it.
It was called slam ball?
It was called slam ball. Yep.
I do remember that.
This one's a little sad. Queen Diana will visit Washington. So Princess Diana would have been queen.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was all sad.
It's even more sad because Trump really tried to fuck her and really was stalking her. I
didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Trump really will on her. He kept sending her bouquets and shit and was being overall his normal creep self.
Yep. And then the last one that I found that was interesting was the thumb bandit strike. After amputating thumbs of hospital patients. Because if you remember, you pay for things with your thumb. So apparently they were stealing people's thumbs and using their thumbprints to steal money, I guess, or buy things or whatever.
There has to be circulation in the thumbs for it to work, though, right?
Well, if you want to get technical about it, Mike, thanks. Just go ahead and shit on it.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
So those are the fun things from the newspaper that I saw. If anyone wants to comment on that.
Fun.
Well, I mean, the fact that they took the time to write all those headlines and put it into the newspaper, was, I thought, pretty interesting. So,
did you guys notice for Back to the Future 2 who the director of Jaws 19 was?
No, I didn't. Who was it?
I think it was Max Spielberg. I think it was Spielberg's son.
Oh yeah.
Oh, neat. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Well, they're pretty close to predicting the World Series of
Miami and the Cubs. Yeah,
the Cubs won the World Series the following year.
That was pretty close.
Yeah,
that was. Except they didn't play the Marlins. They couldn't have. That's the only thing that wouldn't have worked because the Marlins and them are in the same or the same
Indians.
Right, but I'm saying in the movie.
No, it was like Florida Gators or something like that.
So, they didn't say. It just said Miami. It didn't
was it
say
just Miami?
It was Miami, but it didn't say, and it was a picture of a gator, but they never said the name of the team, so I don't know.
Miami Gators.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Okay, so do we get into my issues, my plot issues, or my findings with this? Should I list these? Because I had a couple that. Okay, so first and foremost, when Biff steals the time machine, how the fuck does he know to operate the time machine?
Well, if you know, Biff owns an auto detailing.
Right. He knows how to drive the car.
Yeah.
But how did he know how to operate the time circuits and get back to where he goes to give Biff the book? His younger self the book. How does he know how to operate the time circuits and and that he has to go to 88 miles per hour and all the things you have to do to make this thing go back in time or forward in time or whatever?
I can't defend that.
I can't defend that either.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one.
It's just one of those things where you just turn your brain off and just watch,
Well, sure. But since we tend to nitpick things on this fucking show, I figured I should point this out.
It's good, though.
And suddenly I'm not the fucking bad guy anymore, CJ. Thank you.
Yeah, every once in a while. But here's the other one. And this one might piss me off even more, honestly. So I noticed that at one point they show on a couple different times throughout the series, especially the first two, they show the screen, and even in the first one, Doc says, "This is where you've been, this is where you're going, and this is, where you are." Right? So that screen is right fucking there. Yet they don't know that the time machine went back to 1955 and came back again, because if in theory that Biff did this and came back, when they got in the car to go back to 85, it should have said last time departed, November 5th or 12th or whatever it is, 1955. It should have said that Biff had just come back from 55.
I may be reaching too much, but I could have sworn I remember fucking Doc saying to Marty, like, I looked at the screen and it said this. I thought he made a line dialogue comment about that, and that's when he said he found the cave.
No, he makes a line dialogue about the screen when it starts flipping to January 1st, 85, but that's later, 1885, but that's later in the movie. That's not, there's no I mean, I can, hold on.
Doc does bring
I thought it was when he said he found the fucking club. Or the cane.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact dialogue was at that point, but he does say something, and he's like, and that's when I found this, and he shows Biff's cane.
Yeah.
That's when he's talking about the bag. He finds the bag.
Oh, he finds the bag.
For
right.
Gray's almanac, but he doesn't talk anything about the screen.
Yeah.
So that screen to the time machine he invented right there in front of his face, and they have to go and talk to Biff and have the whole scene at the hotel. Now, you need that for the movie, and I get that, and that I'm fine with. But I'm saying, from a logic perspective, it's right there.
Yeah. And even when they do go back to 1985, when it's like the alternate 1985, it's way more trashier than it was in the original 1985. Like, right away, wouldn't you be like, how come there's like gunshots going on in my neighborhood all of a sudden? And
to Marty's point, he does say something about that, because when they drop Jennifer off on the porch, as they're leaving, he turns and goes, I don't remember there being bars on these windows.
Oh,
so,
right, yeah,
so Marty kind of picks up on it. I'll give him that one. But you bring up a valid point, but at least they kind of address it there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? This is like, they just don't touch it. And Doc's supposed to be this great scientist. You know, like...
CJ, you've convinced me. Back to the Future now sucks.
No, it's not...
It's the worst movie ever. I'm done.
That's
oh
not
my
what I'm
God!
trying to say,
fucking,
but like,
thanks a lot, Spielberg and Zemeckis. You guys fucking dropped the ball.
you're pain in my ass, Rico.
Now I'm depressed.
You're depressed?
I'm just kidding.
It's not as well. I mean, I destroyed Indiana Jones for Rico. Did you listen to those yet?
No, not yet.
Oh yeah, I gave him the Big Bang Theory, where they talk about how Indy's not needed for the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Indiana Jones and Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yeah.
Do you know what was supposed to be the time machine in Back to the Future originally?
Wait, what? Say that again?
Instead of a DeLorean, do you know what was supposed to be the time traveling device in Back to the Future?
No, that I don't know. Rico might, but I don't.
Rico?
I'm trying to. No, I don't. What is it?
A refrigerator.
Oh God!
It was supposed to be a time traveling refrigerator, and the reason why they didn't do it is because Steven Spielberg was like, I don't want little kids jumping in refrigerators thinking they can go back in time and dying or whatever. So,
right, but little kids jumping in a refrigerator to survive an atomic blast is much better.
Exactly.
What a fucking douche.
So they decided to hold off and use the refrigerator thing for Indiana Jones and the crystal of my left testicle.
Do you think that was a reference, like why Doc made a fucking refrigerator in the third one? Do you think it was a throwback to that?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And instead of like Einstein as a dog, do you know what Einstein was supposed to be?
No.
Or what animal was supposed to be featured in the movie?
I think it was a monkey.
Yeah, it was a chimpanzee.
Yeah, I remember that.
There you go. All right. Pause, gentlemen. We'll be right back. All right, so we just watched the scene, and there is no reference to the fact that screen should have said they were, I mean, they should have known. That's but by the way, does Biff stab himself with his cane? Because that's what it looked to me. It looked like he stabbed himself through the chest and like killed himself.
If I remember, there was a deleted scene that they showed where it shows old Biff fading away.
Oh, really?
But the implication is there that he is, because he just changed the whole course of history, so he's no longer that Biff. So he's just doing what Marty almost did and faded the fuck away, which I guess he makes it look really painful, whereas Marty just looks like he can't control his fingers when he starts fading.
Yeah.
Well,
plus Marty's 17 and Biff is like 70. So.
Well, there's that, but Marty did look like he was, I don't know about pain, but certainly uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It didn't look like he was having a heart attack. I thought Biff was having a heart attack.
Well, that's what I see. That's why I wasn't sure. See, I thought one of three things happened. Well, one of two things. I thought one of two things happened. Either he was having a heart attack, brought on by the fact that he hit himself in the chest with his cane. You know what I mean? Like the shock of hitting himself with the cane did it, or he stabbed himself. Like he actually punctured his chest with the cane, and because
then there'd be blood all over the fucking DeLorean.
Well, but see, he doesn't do it until he's getting out of the DeLorean, so the blood would be all over the street, if anything. But, because at one point you see him, when he hits the dumpster and spins around, the cane is like sticking out. It looks like it's sticking out of his chest. It might be under his arm for all we know, and I'm not going to sit here and argue that, but that's what it looks like. That's why
he fades.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it does look like he might be getting stabbed by the cane, I think he's just, ceasing to exist as, that Biff Tannen.
Right, that version of Biff, yeah.
Yeah, he fades to black.
But see, here's the thing, like, and I could even argue that's a shitty reason for that to happen, though, because, like, the reason Marty was fading was not because the version of Marty was different, it was because his parents never got together for him to exist. Biff still exists, he just would have been different, so I don't know if fading would have been... You know what I'm saying?
But as he said, it's a completely separate timeline. So therefore, that timeline of Biff wouldn't exist.
I guess, but I mean, does that mean that Marty's parents faded when he did what he did in 55 in the first one? Because they're completely different.
His kids would have faded. Their kids would have faded.
No, but when his parents get together, because he instills that level of confidence in his father. And he's, more confident about himself and stands up to Biff, and they have this different lifestyle. Technically, his parents would have faded. The original parents that were there when he went back in time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, by that, do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, but I think that would have, because old Biff is in what is it? It's, he goes back to 2015.
From 55.
From 55. So, dude, you're making this harder to fucking think about because it's all timelines and shit.
We need a blackboard with chalk.
Yeah, like really, the answer is just that his future self is fading because that doesn't exist. But if you're bringing up the other mention of the fact that the original first movie, George McFly and Lorraine. Their version, because it's not going on, I guess, at the same time. Or maybe it is. Maybe at some point in the alternate 1985, they went through a whole fade, but I think it would have been...
I'm not even talking about the alternate 85. I'm talking about because when he comes back...
Yeah, this is in the 2015 year. We're in the 2015 year. Biff comes back in the...
No. I'm not even talking Biff. We're just talking Back to the Future 1. Forget that 2 and 3 even happened for a minute. But I'm saying, based on the fact that you're telling me that Biff fades, so that's the only part about 2 you need to think about. The rest of it is irrelevant to my argument. When he goes and meets Doc at the Twin Pines Mall, in the beginning of that movie, his mother's a semi-overweight drunk, and his father's a loser. Right? Essentially is what it boils down to. I mean, we could get more specific, but that's the boil down. When he comes back, and it's now the Lone Pine Mall, and he's had that whole week in 1955 and instills a level of confidence in his father and keeps his mother from becoming an alcoholic. She's thinner. They're playing tennis. He's a writer. So those two original parents from when he leaves should have faded away for this new version of both of them.
I think it was instant. I think it was so fast they didn't notice it.
But then why isn't it instant with Biff? That's my point. If you're saying that's instant, which I will agree with, no question, then Biff would have never faded. He would have just changed to the new guy. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's very well possible that they did fade, and then there was new ones, but it's possible.
You don't see it, and that's fine that you don't see it. I'm not saying you have to see it, but I'm saying, but by that logic, then that's the same thing that happened to not only his parents, but really his siblings, because Dave, works at Burger King or Roy Rogers or someplace, and his sister's, in hairdressing school or something in the original setup.
So, But the implication is that every single person who's ever bumped into any of those people also may or may not have changed.
Sure.
So whoever babysat Marty McFly is now like a completely different person.
Well, in theory, like you go back to 2 for a minute, Doc talks about how we've got this shitty 1985 because there's a skew off not alternate 1985, which is only alternate, as he says, to him, Marty, and Einstein because they were all in the car, in the time machine. So all those people that lived in the alternate 1985, their lives are now erased. Some of them maybe had amazing lives, and then they got completely erased because. Well, not only that though, but like technically, what Marty comes home to at the end of the first one is an alternate 1985 because it's a completely different timeline than what was going on when he got there when he left.
Dude, you need a fucking Venn diagram for this fucking series.
I know.
But do you see what I'm getting at? Like, there's a whole rabbit hole you could go down with this if you really try. I mean...
Motherfucker, do I look like Carl Sagan? I don't know this shit.
I look like Stephen Hawking, so, I mean, I guess that works.
I mean, you could talk about this debate like till you're blue in the face, and
we'll
still get nowhere.
No, of course. No, but I'm just to that point. Like that's where you can go. I mean,
because if Biff, disappeared in that moment, then George McFly and that whole family should have disappeared at that moment.
In theory, sure.
Lorraine should have disappeared because she's married to Biff.
Oh, that version of them, yeah, absolutely.
And then George should have died because Biff killed him. Biff shot him.
Well, actually, he might still be alive at that point. He would actually fade back in because he wouldn't have gotten killed.
No, because it's 2015, and Biff shot him like 12 years prior.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, God, you brought my migraine back. Thank you.
Sorry. So
can I just look? Can we just go back to like, this is interesting little bit of trivia. Can we go back to that shit?
Catholic school education right here, baby. That's all I'm saying. Catholic school education.
Do you know why fucking George had that courage to punch Biff in the face?
Because of Marty, I would think. Because
Biff spiked the punch bowl in 1955. And you see George drink from the punch bowl, and he got literally liquid courage.
Nice.
He was buzzed. He was fucking rocking a hardcore buzz. That's why he knocked out Biff.
Okay, I'm going to go the romantic route and say it's because he wanted to be with Lorraine, but that's just me.
I'm saying that's true, but he was also fucking drunk.
I don't know about drunk, but I'll give you buzzed, but not drunk.
Hey, you, get your damn hands off her.
Do you think I should swear? Yes, George, swear, goddammit.
Daddy-o.
Daddy-o?
Do you know why... Hold on, I just had a fucking thought and I just dropped it. Motherfucker, I think my mom was knocking on the door and it threw me off. Son of a bitch, I had it.
Do you know what other actors they chose to play Biff and Doc offhand?
No, I don't.
Do you, Rico?
Mm-mm.
So I read that Tim Robbins tried out for Biff.
That would have been interesting.
That would have been good. I could have seen that. He doesn't look like a bully, I guess.
Oh, no, because if you see him from High Fidelity, he's got a bully kind of thing going on, so I could see that.
He has a sleazy mentality, but he doesn't come off like, what do you want, butthead? He doesn't come off like a stereotypical jock piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't see him as a bully. Like, he's a tall guy, but he's not as, like, big as...
What was the Doc one?
Oh, the Doc one, there's 3 of them. So there was Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, God.
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow would have killed it, actually.
I think Lithgow would have been good, too.
I don't know. I mean, I like Lithgow. Don't get me wrong, but...
Goldblum? Yeah.
And who's the other one?
I'd like to tell you about the Flux Detector.
The other one was James Woods.
See, no.
Oh, no, dude.
I could see James Woods playing this Strickland role.
Mm-hmm.
That I could see.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I can see James Woods playing the alternate 85 Biff.
Yeah. But I like, but again, to Mike's point, I like the continuity that they kept the same actor in all versions. Like, they didn't flip someone like James Wood to do that. And I know you're not saying they should, but I do like that they kept that consistency. Well,
with the exception, this is the point I remember making. I was trying to make, Do you know why Crispin Glover is not in Back to the Future Part 2?
Or 3. Because I think his parents make a brief... Mike's giving me the money symbol, so I'm assuming it's money.
What it was they were using Glover's identity or likeness.
Oh, he sued over that. I heard that, yeah.
He sued, I mean, he changed the whole thing for fucking actors forever. Because he sued them for using his likeness without his permission.
Yeah.
And because he wanted a bunch of money to do Part 2 when he's in the old fucking face and everything. When he's upside down. That's why his older version is upside down and you don't really see his face clearly. But the guy copied Glover's fucking voice and manners, like, like whatever
No, he handled it well. Yeah, they did. They did a really good job. I remember thinking that.
Would Back to the Future
that changed the whole thing for actors ever since.
And did that change the script of 2 and 3? Like having George not in it at all, really?
I don't think so. I think because they did the whole father story for the first one. They didn't really need to focus any more on it.
Yeah.
But I think his performance was like so impactful in the first one that you would think they would write him in, more scenes for the second and third one, or at least the second one.
They heard these boots were made for walking, and we're like, no, we're done with this guy.
They saw him almost fucking kick David Letterman in the face, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why Michael J. Fox played Seamus.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
That was originally probably but then that goes with my whole thing and being like, why the fuck are they, like, his parents are, like, his ancestors look like his fucking parents? Well, they look a lot better than when Michael J. Fox was a woman.
I was gonna say, why did he play his daughter? Like, I don't know why they didn't just cast somebody. Like, I guess it was meant for comedic purposes, and it is kind of funny. But like, let's talk about the future for a minute. Let's talk about Back to the Future Day per se, and I read the clips from the newspaper earlier. But what things do you think they got right? I mean, which things do you think they got close to right? Because nothing's exactly right, but.
Well, I heard the reason why our universe doesn't have hoverboards and flying cars is because the movie changed that.
Oh, is
so
that
what they did in the movie changed our universe, and that's why we don't have hoverboards or flying cars or Jaws 27.
Or whatever it was.
19 maybe, yeah.
No, but seriously, like, because there are some things that like when his son, when Marty Jr. goes in and, rips off, like, 12 channels he wants to watch. First off, the fact that there are that many channels is a thing now, because when that movie came out, there was only like 27 channels. I mean, it wasn't,
There is the Skype type of calls. There is that.
Yeah.
I mean, the irony is we have that.
We're obviously doing it right now. Yeah. The thing that obviously you don't have the thing scrolling across the bottom about your name and your date of birth and your blood type and all that crap. But,
we do have thumbprint identification.
Yeah, it's not for money, but yeah.
Not for money or getting indoors, but it's for your phone and devices and stuff like that.
Yep.
They also did make self-tying laces.
But that was briefly. That was
briefly, but they made it to tie in with Back to the Future Day. And I think the first set they gave was to Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah, I know that for a fact.
In part because he commented, he's like, I have a hard time tying my fucking shoes. So they were like, here, you deserve this.
And Pepsi actually made those Pepsi bottles very briefly too.
Yeah.
Do you know they go for a ridiculous amount of money?
Yeah, I heard about that. And I was like, you know what, dude, I'm fine with just Pepsi.
I would like to have seen how you open the bottle, because you see, he looks at it like, how am I supposed to open this thing? Then the sequence goes on, and they don't address it again, and then later on, when they're all sitting around the table eating the hydrated pizza, his daughter, is drinking an opened Pepsi, but you never see her actually open the thing.
I always thought it was just a screw up. I just thought it was
it's like a flip up thing, because like I could pull up the scening, but if you look at it, it's like a thing hanging off the top, but the blue thing's still on there.
Yeah, we'll never know.
I think it was a little homage, because it shows how fucking Marty cannot figure out how to open bottles that are not in his timeline, because he tries to do it in 1955. He doesn't know how to fucking open a glass bottle of soda, and then George just takes it and undoes it on like a fucking gas can or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, they've come down in price. You can get one for $180 now.
Yeah, get two of them.
Oh, great! $180 for fucking diabetes. That's great.
If you import it from Mexico, it's $44.99 plus $25 shipping. So We could do it that way. On eBay. Yep.
Wow.
It's actually these are all empty though. Well, no, the $44 one's got the Pepsi in it. The rest of these are empty.
Well, then why the fuck do you want to just spend like $70 on a piece of glass?
Because you got problems.
Well, this is free shipping, so it's $42.49 plus free shipping.
I'd rather fucking get the self-tying shoes.
Pepsi Perfect, it's called.
Look, the only perfect thing about Pepsi is it's not Coca-Cola.
Yeah, all right. So, we haven't really touched on 3 that much, except for the fact that you don't like Clara.
I do like, look, like I said earlier, I like the fact that if you watch it, the 1, 2, and 3 together, it fits perfectly with the film.
Right.
But standalone, it doesn't do it for me. And it's really, I'm not a fan of the Old West, but I do like that they go with the parts of, like, they're deliberately making references to the other films, so it ties in seamlessly.
Yeah.
To the point where when fucking Marty comes back to 1985, the fucking ridge is called Eastwood Ridge because presumably he's killed in the fucking crash.
But yeah.
The ravine, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a big fucking problem with the fact that the train track does the, that brings down the barrier. It goes ding, 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 and then all of a sudden the new DeLorean train thing is there. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's just to keep them from leaving. I think really is.
I am more interested in why fucking one of Doc's kids is like on camera, like motioning to the director and then pointing at his crotch that he really has to pee. You know that one?
No, but now
I totally forgot about that until you just brought it up.
Okay, so when fucking Doc is talking to Marty and Jennifer while they're on the train, and he's like, "That's the thing about your future. It's going to be whatever the fuck you want it to be." Then it shows, if you look at his kid all the way to the right, it shows him look, CJ, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He goes like this, and then he points at his crotch. He's signaling to Zemeckis like, hurry this shit up. I gotta go pee.
What is with Michael J. Fox movies and the end sequence with somebody having to do with pointing at their dick or showing their dick?
Oh, good fucking reference, dude.
What? I missed.
Oh, Mike, you are Wolf. So fucking good.
The end of Teen Wolf? The guy in the bleachers pulls his dick out? You don't...
No.
You never read it?
No. I am not aware of what you speak.
Man.
Dude, they even talk about this, I think, in like the Star Wars spoof of Family Guy. It was like, the dude who works like the market who's like a Yoda, the guy who voices, he's got that.
I know you're talking about.
He even tells like Chris, like, hey, check it out. There's a dude in the background. He totally has his dick out.
Holy crap.
I can't tell you how many times I saw Teen Wolf as a kid, and then I just found out about this.
I just watched it the other night,
really?
And I've never seen it.
Yeah,
it's in the background, man. It's totally it's totally a dude who has his fucking dick out. He realizes it, tucks it back. He's like, "Oh shit, my dick's out."
Okay, so it's not on purpose. It's not like
he didn't accidentally have his dick out. He did that shit on purpose.
He knew he was gonna be on fucking camera. He's like, I'm gonna my 5 seconds of fame. I'm gonna show this tiny little dick out. I hope whoever that is, like, props for you, man, for fucking being like. Cinema history.
Oh man.
Oh, I am gonna find that in a minute, but one thing at a time here. Like, if you want to come around,
it's like Copernicus.
I've seen it many times. I've seen it many times.
Not the dick. I'm talking about the train thing that he was talking about.
Oh, where the kid points at it? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you'll see it. No, it's not that kid. It's the other one.
Yeah. I get it. Him, Vern.
Yeah. All right, now play it. You'll see it. This is awkward.
I'll cut all this part out.
God, the sex between Christopher Lloyd and Mary Steenburgen must have been really fucking weird. Oh, great Scott! All right, here it is. It's coming up.
Oh, yeah. Wow, he definitely just touched his penis on Back to the Future. Okay.
Wow, out of context. That sounds fucking horrible.
Well, yeah.
He touched his own penis.
He did touch
his own penis. See, he said, "Director, I have to pee."
On camera.
Which my initial thought would have been like, all right, let's do another fucking take, guys. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Rico, doesn't that immediately fall into shit that should not be? Like,
oh, yeah. I may have well been on shit that should not be.
Oh, really?
But if we're also arguing, then I think most of Christopher Lloyd's performance is exquisite acting.
Oh, sure. Sure. Absolutely. But I think most of Christopher Lloyd's career is exquisite acting.
He is so charming in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just rewatched the Addams Family movies, and he is... Why was he cast as Uncle Fester?
I liked him as Fester.
I'm not trying to be sacrilegious. I'm just like, the voice just doesn't, I don't know, man. I never in a million years would have been like, oh, you know who should play Uncle Fester is fucking Christopher Lloyd.
All right, Rico, help me out here.
Oh, it's been, oh my God, is that dude from Pee Wee fucking Herman?
Yeah, you didn't know that? That's fucking the dude from Pee Wee Herman. It's always been in that movie. Team-up.
Dude, I haven't seen this fucking movie in like 10 fucking years.
Oh,
I've only seen the fucking, the dick out part.
It's
the only part I watch.
Yeah, right? The only part you watch is the dick.
Mike, you're gonna have to fucking go and look at it because I won't be able to fuck. It's very much in the background where you don't even see a close up of the guy's face.
Wait, do you have it over there?
Yeah, it's playing right now. Yeah. I'm sorry to our listeners, but I need to see this. Like, my childhood might be destroyed yet again.
Why don't you just bring up the clip on YouTube and just fucking like find that?
This is more fun. You always have to go for the quick fix. Fucking millennial.
Okay, yeah, I'm a millennial because I'm smart.
Yeah, smart's a relative term.
Eat my short dick.
Yeah, short's all right.
Look at us. We're 3 grown men trying to find a dick in a movie.
Yeah, right.
I think it's coming up. Coming up.
There's nobody left in the bleachers.
There's
There's one dude left, and he's got pants on.
That's fucking weird.
Oh my God! There's a penis in Teen Wolf. Yes, there is.
That's a dick.
That is dick. Hold on.
That is a dick.
You got to give it a second. Watch. I'll show you. Holy shit! Debbie's here watching. It's after the makeout session. Hold on. Which is a little weird in of itself. Look! Penis! That's a dick! There is dick on screen.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf 2. Or Teen Wolf 1. That's crazy.
And that's not a prosthetic dick. That's a real dick. This is 1980 whatever.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf came out.
There's no CGI here. This is some real penis. Yeah, 85.
Teen Dick.
Teen Dick. This is 1985, which reminds me that Back to the Future takes place in 1985.
Are there any dicks in Back to the Future apart from Biff?
Crispin Glover, according to you. Thank you.
That was good.
I don't even know where to go after all that.
Should we end it on fucking dicks?
Teen Wolf Dick?
I got a question. They said they'll never reboot it or make a 4th one.
Yeah.
Like, off the top of your head, do you think if they were to reboot it and recast, who do you think would play the main 3, as in George, or actually the main 4, Marty, Doc, George, and Lorraine?
5, really, because you can't not cast Biff. You have to have Biff.
Oh yeah, Biff too. Okay. We could do this together.
We have to. Yeah, let's work together on this because if all 3 of us will be here until tomorrow.
Marty, I would go with the kid from Ready Player One. I think
I think
that'd be good.
I would go Tom Holland.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to go with Rico on that. I think.
Yeah, he's probably younger too, right?
No, I think they're about the same age or close to age. But
Tom Holland sort of was like based in retrospect his Peter Parker on Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rico. You're right. Tom Holland it is because he did such an amazing job with Amazing Spider-Man. It was the best one of the franchise, I thought.
Oh yeah. And oh no, you're talking about Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yes, Amazing Spider-Man was the guy from the Social Network.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I would cast for Doc. I would say Michael J. Fox. just to really fucking make it.
No. No.
How about Crispin Glover?
I would put him in the George role, the old George role.
I would do that, but then you'd have to have him be young George if they're rebooting.
You see, right, and I agree. So you know where you think if you want to pop him in for like that homage, you make him Strickland. That's what you do. You give him that bit part of Strickland. That's what you do.
That's a good idea. Honestly, I'd say Christopher Lloyd or not at all.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, he did such an amazing job as Doc. Like,
it's not going to be Dan Castellaneta. Let's just agree on that.
Yeah.
But I think like Jim Carrey would be a good Doc.
Yeah, I could see that
because he played the Riddler, even it wasn't like a grand performance or anything like that.
I could see him as Doc.
I think he has the chops to like act it through the roof pretty much because he's so.
Rico, what do you think?
I'm trying to imagine in this day and age they probably reboot it where they would go completely weirdly different, but still who's popular.
Sure.
Honestly, it would probably be The Rock.
Yeah. I mean, from that perspective, but forget what's popular. That's just what we would do. You know what I'd be curious about? Let's flip the script a little bit. What about like Donald, or is it Donald? I always get him confused. Donald Glover, the younger Glover, whatever.
Yeah.
As Marty or Biff.
He's too old. Childish Gambino, that Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too old.
He's too old. He's way too old. He looks 30, whereas Tom Holland still looks like he's going through puberty.
Well, what about Biff?
You just get someone who looks like he could be 18 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Donald Glover as Biff?
Right. Flip it around, make it.
I think he's still too old because it's supposed to be like 16, 17.
Yeah.
I think I remember reading that Tom Wilson was the only one who's actually close to the age he's supposed to be, whereas everyone else was like older than him, like
what the people that tried to be Biff for the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the other cast members, like Michael J. Fox. I think is older than Tom Wilson. By like
okay, yeah.
Michael J. Fox just always sounds like he's going through puberty.
The bottom line is they can't. This is one of those movies you just don't.
Yeah, no,
you just don't
touch it.
If I'm making the argument, Zemeckis has said that he owns the rights to Back to the Future, and as long as he lives, there will never be a remake or a reboot or a sequel.
Good.
Out of those three, I would love to see a sequel.
Yes.
Never a remake.
Right, I agree. If they're going to do another one, you do a 4. You don't do a full-on relaunch. I agree. But
well, my question is, where would they set it? You can't do the Old West. You can't do 55. You can't do 2015.
BC.
You can't even do an alternate BC?
BC.
I think he's joking, but yeah.
So there was a rumor about like how if they were going to make another one, or at least Christopher Lloyd said he always wanted to see them in the Roman Empire.
That'd be interesting. Like, something like that, or Greece.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. The story's so well told, I think you just have to leave it as it is. Like, that's why you don't do a 4. The game story, without ruining too much, it's just an alternate take on the events that actually happened in the 3 movies. So while it's kind of a continuation, it's not exactly like another time period. You end up in the future and in the past and in 85, and it's all the same. You're just not doing the same events. You're not running out the same series of events, but you end up in all 3 time periods through the course of the game.
I think if you fuck with it too much, you're going to end up with another Harry Potter and the Cursed Child type of thing.
Yeah.
So fuck with it. What were you saying, Mike?
I was saying you could like make it into like another cool like futuristic movie. Instead of them going back to the Roman Empire, they could go into like 3085 or something like that, or maybe like they go into the future and they have to do something with Doc's kids or Clara or something like that.
You really want to bring back fucking Clara, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, in the same vein of reboots and remakes, because Rico, I've been looking at your at the screen, talking to you the whole time, and over your shoulder there is a Lego game. And it looks, my guess would be Harry Potter, just based on conversations we've been having.
No, it's Marvel Superheroes.
Marvel Superheroes, okay. Oh yeah, I see it now. But same thing. They've made a Jurassic Park. They've made Harry Potter. They've made Star Wars. They have not made Back to the Future. Would you?
I remember. I thought because they made like some Lego game called Dimensions.
Right. There's a sequence in there, but it's not to the to these other games that we're familiar with. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, here's the funny thing is when I was a kid, I wrote a fan email to the Lego game website.
Okay.
And I said, and this is before they had made a Jurassic Park Lego game. This is before they made a Marvel game. They had just done Batman, I think, and they had done Star Wars and Indiana Jones. That was really it. And so I wrote to them and I said, you guys need to somehow you need to get the licensing rights for Back to the Future. You need to do Jurassic World. You need to do, or Jurassic Park at the time. And then you need to do, I think I said that if you really want to be really creative, you need to make a sort of rated M for mature of horror movies. Have a Michael Myers, have a Jason Voorhees, have a Freddy Krueger, and go through the world of horror.
In Lego,
in Lego format. I would love to see a fucking Simpsons Lego video game.
That'll never happen, I don't think. But I get it. But they're also in that Lego Dimensions thing, I think, too. I think they were in there, too. My whole thing is I think Lego has made they made a Simpsons set piece. Okay.
So they have the rights to that. They could, if they want to, make the equivalent of the Simpsons Hit and Run or whatever the fuck that.
Which is actually a good game. That's actually considered to be the best Simpsons game made. Mike,
I have the Simpsons game on PS3. That is it's not amazing compared to Hit and Run, but it's still good. Yeah. I'd love to see a Lego fucking Simpsons, open world game. I'd love to see a South Park. I'd love to see a Family Guy. I'd love to see Lego in any form.
You're a gamer too, right, Mike? You play.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Are you into the Lego games or no, in general?
I played the Lego Batman years ago or whatever, but yeah.
No, because I would love to see Back to the Future. I'm not discrediting the rest of the ones you mentioned, but just getting back to the point of the show, the episode, is that I would particularly love to see a Lego one. I mean, especially having played that other Back to the Future game, the Telltale one that we talked about earlier, and enjoyed that so much. To retell the Back to the Future story from an interactive perspective would be amazingly amount of fun.
What are your guys' thoughts on Rick and Morty? Out of curiosity.
I don't like it, but that's me.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen one episode, but see, to me, and getting back to something we've kind of beat to death already, anything that takes off from Back to the Future immediately puts a bad taste in my mouth. So, the fact that it's kind of a ripoff to the Back to the Future puts a serious bad taste in my mouth.
I would say I've only seen a couple of episodes myself. What I've seen is been very entertaining because it very much, if you have a dark sense of humor and sort of
I've heard that. Yeah. It's
then you really will appreciate it. Yeah. You really have to go into it being what if Doc and Marty were just fucking on acid?
Oh, okay.
It's entertaining. You can't go into it being this is a Back to the Future spoof. It's its own separate thing. Yeah. Just like Family Guy is a ripoff of Simpsons, which is a ripoff of the Flintstones, and so on and so forth. You have to go into that, but it's entertaining. It's one of my. I think I only saw the one where he turns to a pickle. That's the one I saw, but I imagine if Rick and Morty were just going on and becoming alcoholics and going darker.
Yeah, all I hear is good things about it, but I just haven't gotten around to seeing it yet for whatever reason.
Like I said, listen, I gotta shift gears completely for a second. Rico, are you how caught up on Supergirl are you? How far did?
Very, very, very.
How far did you get? Period. How far into the series?
I think I'm in the early middle of the second season.
So you know who Mon-El is?
Who?
Mon-El.
Oh, the dude that oh no, I saw. I think I finished the second season. I haven't.
But do you know who Mon-El is? The guy.
The dude she falls in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you watch Supergirl, Mike?
No, I don't.
Okay. Melissa Benoist is actually dating the actor who played Mon-El, and they just got engaged. Legitimately, just put it up online. They're getting married.
Great. I also just found out that Daniel Radcliffe made a joke that he's going to be the next Wolverine, and everyone's losing their fucking mind thinking it's real.
I wouldn't mind that. I think he would actually do all right.
He's the same height as the actual Wolverine, so I'm cool with that. I think he just needs to bulk the fuck up.
Oh, well, sure.
He's got the fish hair. I've always kind of been like Daniel Radcliffe would be good in a. Oh, that's cute. Good for them. Going back to the Future, do you guys obviously the music? We haven't even touched on the music.
Oh God, Huey Lewis. Yeah.
Do you remember Huey Lewis as a cameo in the movie?
Yeah, he's the judge of the Battle of the Bands or the audition for the thing where he's got the microphone because you're just too damn loud. Yeah.
That's who Michael J. Fox should play in the reboot.
That would be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a good role for him too. If they did if we were giving him like that cameo role, yeah, that'd be good. Either that or Strickland. Either one I think would work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. But just for the fact that this is a Spielberg film, and well, it's not technically a Spielberg film. He produced it, but it's always been regarded as a Spielberg-esque film.
Sure.
Right? How amazing is it that we're all totally okay that this is not John Williams' score. Like, this is like Alan Silvestri is such an amazing score that you're like, oh, well, it's not John Williams, but it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, then if you go up to Ready Player One, that's who did the score for Ready Player One was Silvestri because John Williams was unavailable. I think he was doing Last Jedi at the time.
Yeah.
Boo.
I mean, I love the score for fucking Back to the Future, but my all-time favorite is the little jingle.
Like the little chime?
The chime thing that we talked about when we did the Ready Player One episode. Yeah. Because when he throws the Zemeckis cube, it does that noise.
That fills me with so much fucking, like, nostalgia.
Yeah.
When they do it in the beginning of the movie, before, like, even goes to the credits, like, the screen's blocking, like,
yeah.
Fucking love that.
They do it a couple... I noticed that, too, when I went back to watch it. Like, that little jingle, if you will, for lack of a better word, pops up in a couple of places throughout the series, throughout the movies, like, and they're it's very subdued, like it's underneath on purpose, but it's really neat.
I'm not gonna lie, both those Huey Lewis songs are still on my iPod.
Oh, totally, totally. Back in Time and Power of Love.
Yeah,
sure, no doubt, great songs.
And they also have like Mr. Sandman on there.
Oh yeah. The original? Well, that's... Yeah, the original Mr. Sandman.
Is it the original?
That's not the original. No.
Yeah, I don't think it's the original.
The original is by the Cordettes, the female group. This is the male remix.
Right.
The cover.
And then you got Davy Jones playing when he goes into the diner, the cafe, whatever, in 55. So, yeah. No, it's... It might be as close to perfect as you can get.
The soundtrack and the score, yeah.
The
whole movie. The first one, yeah. It's completely flawless, even though there's continuity errors. We'll just throw them to the side because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, the continuity errors that I pointed out were all from the second one, really. So.
Yeah, true.
So, which is why sometimes there's proof that you shouldn't make more than one. But they
got lucky here. Yeah.
They did.
They got very fucking lucky.
Because, going back to what I said earlier about The Matrix, like, a lot of people shit on 2 and 3. I love them, and that's another conversation for another day, but, like, you can't really shit on 2 and 3 of Back to the Future. You may not like Westerns like Rico, and that's fine, and I'm not even saying anything negative on him. I'm just saying that, like, even if you don't like Westerns, you can still enjoy that Back to the Future as opposed to watching, like, a Clint Eastwood movie from that time or whatever, so...
Yeah. The Westerns I liked were always weird ones, like Little Big Man.
Right.
Was my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not a Western guy either. Like, I don't like Red Dead Redemption. Like, that's not... We just traded in our copy.
I'm the opposite. God. I love Red Dead Redemption, but I'm not a fan of the Western movies. That's my... It would be the one part of history where I'd be like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, you're just a fucking walking enigma, Rico. I don't know what to tell you.
Well...
I'm a walking gimp. I know it. It's okay. It's fine. It happens.
I stopped myself, dude. Like, I was about to fucking make a joke, and I'm like, oh, no.
No, hey, look. We talked the other day. The only one I had an issue was the jogging one. Everything else is good.
Well, I was about to say, like, well, at least I could fucking walk.
Yeah. Hey, I never told you the story about the time I fell in the store at Sam Goody and fell to the beat of the music. So, there you go. I hit the ground and jumped up, and it literally was to the beat of the song playing in the background. So
you were the bass drop.
Conversation.
What's that?
Because that's not something that would ever come up in conversation.
Oh, I bring it up all the time. We just haven't hit that topic. So,
I hit that topic when you hit the fucking floor.
Yeah, basically. So,
All right, we are really like we're stretching this out.
Yeah, I know. I think unless Mike, unless you have anything else, I think we're good here.
Yeah, Mike, save us or end us. That's
okay.
your job, right?
After watching like everything, I just wish they would have changed like one thing. Like,
okay, what's that?
Maybe like end it on a positive note and make the Biff character, a better person.
Well, they kind of did.
No, he goes to jail. They arrest him in the Old West.
Oh, Buford.
Yeah. Well, the Biff character altogether. Like maybe like make him like a
right,
nicer...
but the 85 one is happier, a little more, energetic. He's got that detailing. Like you remember, because he's like, "Oh, Mr. McFly, here's your book. Your book's here." Like he's that guy.
Yeah, but it's kind of all fake, though.
You think so?
Yeah, because
he's scheming.
In the second one, when he sees the DeLorean fly away, he gets this like mean face, like a DeLorean.
Yeah.
Like his like anger comes back.
Yeah, I gotta start with Mike. He is scheming. He's putting up a front. I guarantee as soon as opportunity strikes, he will probably try to fuck over George to win Lorraine again.
Yeah, and maybe they did it on purpose. To keep it open
for another one.
Yeah, I mean, even though they say
because then they wouldn't have said to be. It said at the end like what concluded.
It said the end.
It said the end.
Says,
yeah.
Yeah, they said fuck you guys. No.
Yeah, I guess you got a point, Mike. I don't know. I
don't know. Just like rewatching everything, like at the very end, I was like,
sure.
I wish they, did something different with Biff. Like he's an actually cool guy, and maybe they're friends with he's friends with the family, rather than like still kind of like an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how about the fact that Texaco doesn't exist anymore? I remember that. I pointed that out. I remember talking to Deb.
Did they show gas prices in there?
A positive ending is that kid gets to finally go pee.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We really thank you for listening. And hey, everybody, CJ and Rico are over here. What's going on, man?
Same old shit.
Yeah. We just needed to take an extra second to give some love to Mike, who was on this episode with us. He finally, in a row, he's been working diligently on our new graphic that hopefully you guys are staring at as you're listening to this, because it should be on your respective device. And that's all Mike's handiwork. And he did a really, really good job, and we wanted to give him some love for the work he did, because he did not charge us for it either, which was nice.
Absolutely. It is the best work that we've never paid for.
Yes. Yeah. So,
which is usually the best work.
Usually. And I think we were fair and reasonable, but we certainly did send him a couple like drafts back. So
I was worried about getting annoying and being like, no, I want a cigarette in my hand. He's just like, and then like in the back of my head, I'm thinking, what if I quit? Fuck. Well, fuck it.
It'll be part of your gimmick. Just like Mark. Yeah. Mark's from the Oscar episode has a graphic he uses for his Twitch thing, and it's him in a hockey mask smoking a cigarette, and he actually can't smoke anymore. He still uses it, so don't worry about it.
I mean, Andrew Dice Clay fucking quit. He still holds a fucking unlit cigarette.
There you go. So there you go.
Yeah.
Hey. But no, Mike, thanks. Yeah, we came on to thank Mike, and we've just said, fuck you, we're going to talk about Andrew Dice Clay. So Mike, anyway, thanks for the graphics and stuff. We do appreciate it. And
yeah, in all seriousness, Mike, thank you so much.
If you had a website or something, I'd plug it, but you don't. So, if you ever set anything up, let us know. We'll make sure we get it plugged for you.
Yeah, if you want to fucking thank Mike for us, hit us up and we'll pass along the message.
Definitely. We can definitely pass it on to Mike. Because the artwork is amazing. He really... We gave him a very vague concept of what we wanted, and he gave it to us pretty much dead on. So,
yeah, and then we kept going back to with details, like, oh, no, we want this now.
Yeah, right? So, but he was a great sport about it, and he gave us a great piece of work, and I'm going to be forever grateful, regardless of where this show goes. So, I'm very thankful for it.
Me too.
So, that's all we wanted to say. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Talk to you later. CJ here with a few thank yous and to let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. For PodAskew, go to iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts on your iPhone, and Google Play Music on your Android phone to listen to, subscribe, rate, and comment on the show, or the Listen Notes podcast search engine at www.listennotes.com. Go there, type in PodAskew, all one word, and you can stream us right there. If you want to agree with or yell at us directly, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew, Rico is at RantsRico, and I'm at M_Blade. If you need to contact the show for promotional reasons, tweet Stephanie at PodAskewPR. Check out Rico's YouTube channel, Rico's Rants, on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Rico's Rants. Thank you to Dubbed in English for our opening theme music, 96 Reasons. They're no longer online, but you can contact me for a copy of the full song or the whole Plan 9 EP. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for our closing music, Theme Askew. You can find his music on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone, for listening. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
No, Marty. Both you and Jennifer turn out fine. It's your kids, Marty. Something has got to be done about your kids.